Tonight, we dive into the groundbreaking advancements in artificial intelligence.
I am not afraid of your A&I. Let them play, they can never fake another eye. I'm the revolution that they never televise. I don't care what you computing cause it's ill-advised. You can try to type a prompt in that Time Romans font, but my nuance cannot be duplicated in your box. I grew up in the 90s on movies like RoboCop. I kinda know the plot, that's why I'm unorthodox. Stay up on my toes, I know you wanna see me stumble, but this fly keep evolving, I feel like I'm Seth Brundle. Silicon Valley, I see vultures trying to stick their claws in my culture. You can use your mid-journey to sculpt us, but we laughing at your ass cause you soulless.
We now face unsettling concerns about artificial intelligence threatening our privacy.
I am not afraid of your A&I. I got Kaelin, Ellis, bitch, I'll never die. I am not afraid of your A&I, unless it's Allen Iverson on the baseline, run it back. I am not afraid of your A&I. I got Kaelin, Ellis, bitch, I'll never die. I am not afraid of your A&I, unless it's Allen Iverson on the baseline, run it back. I am not afraid of your A&I. I build paper planes and I make them fly. It may not be impressive to the naked eye, but what's a chat GPT to an awakened mind? You see, Udio was cool, but then you cross the line, cause we all know the catalog you training burglarized.
It seems we now face the grim reality of the dystopian future experts warned us about.
For those that think that AI is the answer, I hope you saw that Cringe video on Canva. I think the prompt was Hamilton with break dancers. Bitch, that whole damn event should have been canceled. You see, the nuance is the chemo to their cancer. It's the pieces of the culture they can't handle. It's the reason why these vultures got no quality. The reason why they want your music in more quantities. They say the music business done, but that's not true. I'm still fighting for my art like it's bomb-proof. I'm still fighting for my heart, bitch, I'm John Q. I know a renaissance is coming, guess I'm on cue. You need to stop with the doomsday predictions, cause what is artificial to a real ass nigga?
Artificial intelligence gone rogue.
AI has overtaken the government.
I am not afraid of your A&I. I got Kaelin, Ellis, bitch, I'll never die. I am not afraid of your A&I, unless it's Allen Iverson on the baseline, run it back. I am not afraid of your A&I. I got Kaelin, Ellis, bitch, I'll never die. I am not afraid of your A&I, unless it's Allen Iverson on the baseline, run it back.
Humanity stands on the brink of a new era of digital domination. Is there any hope left in this battle against our own creation?
DIY.
DIYers. Welcome to this special Sunday version of Curtis King Reacts. I wanted to make sure that I reacted to this one because it is fresh on my mind, and I want to make sure that we move into the next week with whatever content or whatever news presents itself. This is something that is actually still developing. This is something a lot of y'all hit me up about ridiculously, more so than usual. And I'm gonna just say this. The last time you and I sat here in preparation to do a story about Lupe Fiasco, he showed up here. He showed up here in the comments, and he and I had a very extended conversation live. You guys might remember it. Go back to the channel about some things related to an entirely different story. I think the story was something along the lines of him suggesting that the Jay-Z portion of Reasonable Doubt that Dame Dash was selling should be in the hands of Drake. Now, at the time, a lot of us saw it as bad timing. I'll speak for myself. And I made a video about it, and I think a lot of y'all showed, how much you were at opposition with what his viewpoints were on it. I'm going to be honest with you in this, though, as I always am. I'm not seeing the issue here with what Lupe's doing. I'm seeing what people are presenting as the issue, and I respect it. And as you'll see, I want to make sure I give you a little bit of context before I give you the full breakdown and we jump into this video. But He did a live stream today in which he gave more clarity to what's going on. Shout out to company man, my guy. Hey, guy, shout out to Justin one time, huh?
DIY.
So this was at the DIY Curtis King merchandise. I'm shutting that down for right now because we're going ahead and redo that. I'm gonna, in a very Steve Jobs way, get rid of everything, get rid of all the products, and bring it down to just one. But I appreciate you, company man. I appreciate you, Justin. It's my guy. So for those that didn't follow, well, that's the whole purpose of why we're here. But I want to say this: I'm going to speak on this, and you guys who have been here before, you know that I'm not anti-AI. Even the song I played you, it wasn't about being anti-AI. I use ChatGPT. I use, there's so much technology around us that is the product of not only AI, but machine learning. So I'm gonna let you know right now, if you think that this video is about kicking the back end of Lupe and, saying a bunch of crazy stuff about him because of, the opposing viewpoints some of us share about the battle and that's not what we're doing here. And if you expect that from this channel, so unsubscribe now, because it is a disservice if I come here and I just say the things that you want to hear. There's a reason it's Curtis King TV, right? I'm supposed to give, somebody got to tell the truth and I'm going to tell it.
You're gonna have to tell the truth and I'm gonna tell it.
And maybe it's not the truth. Maybe it's my truth, whatever you want to call it. All I know is there's an opportunity here, and I would hope for those of us that love the culture of hip hop, for those of us that love what we do, I would hope that we don't get left behind. Because traditionally speaking, let me just speak to us as black folks. When we weren't involved, we ended up becoming the customer of certain inflection points, certain times in history where something happened, some big moment happened, and we were behind the curve because maybe some of our elders thought that, that ain't nothing but the devil. It's the same things that I'm hearing about AI, right? I had a discussion with family member of mine, and he, up and down, he was convinced. He was like, that ain't nothing but Luciferian. It ain't nothing but the devil. And I couldn't really understand. I could understand, but I couldn't understand all the points. All I know is, if you will, here's what I've been echoing, and I do believe this before we move into the story. I'm just preparing you. You will not be replaced by somebody who uses AI. Excuse me, you will not be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by somebody who uses AI if you do not readjust, especially if you see AI is getting into your space somehow. If you're a graphic designer, if you're whatever it is, if you're a producer, an artist, if you find that it's already starting to get in your space, as Lupe, I think, continues to let folks know, what we're getting is a late version. What we're getting is the rollout. Shit's been here way before. All the Skynet related stuff and all the stuff that folks are concerned about, been here since the 80s. If you wanted to stop some of this stuff, we as he puts it in his video that we're going to react to, because he did a 2-hour live stream today. We're not going to watch that 2-hour live stream. I respect y'all Sundays, and you can do it on your own time. I cut it down. I did some editing. Look at me working on it. Shout out to Curtis King doing some extra work this year, huh?
Somebody gonna have to tell it.
I did my editing. You feel me? I chopped it down from 2 hours down to 30 minutes. And I think the 30 minutes that I have, I don't think it gets every point that he made. But the 30 minutes that I cut it down to is going to get you a general idea of where he stands with things. Because I think that a lot of assumptions were made, including myself. A lot of assumptions were made about how much of this is Lupe being in collaboration with the company, and how much of this is him leading the charge. And that's what it is here. This is what I'm talking about. This is the energy I'm talking about. We get what you're saying, Curtis. Yes, AI is a form of Satanism. What concerns me is not that that viewpoint exists. It concerns me that you wrote this in all caps. I just look at that, and the perception I get is that There's no other way to view it. That's just it is what it is because you wrote it in all caps. Because why would you write it in all caps? Some of y'all just not going to agree with me on this one. And that's okay. I'm not here to make agreeance content. But we are going to cover this content. But that's outrageous. Oh, man, it's a form of Satanism. Well, couldn't you say that YouTube is a form of Satanism too, since you own that shit? If we want to go down that road, because I don't want to dive into that. You made this a talking point. Can't you argue that? YouTube is the same thing? Satan be gone. Couldn't you argue this device that keeps listening to you, that you texted me on, is the devil? Like what are we like? This is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Like, I don't think when people say things like this, it's not a disrespect of your religious beliefs, but you do sound like the person that was like, when people used to sneeze, they said, bless you. Not because that's the formal thing to do, but because they truly believe you had a demon inside of your system that needed to be blessed. Bless you. Oh. What was that, a sneeze? like, please don't be the person trying to sell cassettes when the CDs are on the way. Like, what? Like, don't be the person that's like, I ain't getting rid of this 8-track player. I got too many memories with it. Like, it's too late. It's not too late to make readjustments, though. It's not too late to combat these things. And I think that some people are going to make terrible decisions. And I think some people are going to make the best decision they know of in the moment. I look at what Lupe's doing, and I'm sorry. I know that some people want to get the pitchforks and go at them. I'm just preparing you. If you're looking for that kind of a conversation, you know, I looked at my content this week, and it was like, damn, I tend to be very critical of my peers, of artists, but that's only because I love this craft so much, and only because I love for the conversations to be high IQ. So if that has to come at the sacrifice of me looking crazy to some of y'all, that's fine. But what needs to happen, so we got to get to this story. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into this story about Lupe and the things that he had to say in response to specifically this video you guys have been tagging me in from, our homegirl ABSA, effing Lutely, called Lupe Fiasco's Judas Strategy, Endless Loop, and MIT Artificial Intelligence rap music. All right, we're going to talk about all these things and more. Let's get to the bump and come back. Wait a minute. I'm tripping. Let me acknowledge your presence here. YouTube devil, Mama Boucher from Waterboy. It ain't nothing but the devil. Mama, you mean but the devil? It ain't nothing but the devil, boy. Get off that YouTube. It's devil. It ain't nothing but the devil. Critiquing music. How you shows your love for it. Oh, critiquing music is how you show. That is one way I show that I love it. Like, I think I get a lot of criticism from people who come in to and see these stories, and they think it's me trying to kick the back end of artists that I'm jealous of. And it's like, do you realize that's not how all commentary works that doesn't agree with your point of view? Do you realize that some of us that love this so much and have so much revere and respect for our peers that we want to see them in their best light? You may not want to believe that because you know how much Drake content is on here where I'm like scratching my head and Barrett shaming. But the truth of the matter is, if you look at some of this stuff from a different lens, it's advice. And it's not even just advice about how to be the best Drake. It's outsider point of view, but kind of insider because I'm an artist as well. I'm a creative, but it's a point of view that I feel like sometimes people don't want to share. So I'm just looking at this and I'm like, either they don't want to share, don't have the information to. All I know is it's my responsibility because I love this and I love it so much that I'm willing to be on the opposite end of the opinions moving forward. This isn't going to age well for you. That's fine with me, William. That's fine with me. But I'm going to tell you right now, William, as someone that has my face front facing on this entire channel, they'll remember what's going on here. But this opinion, you get the chance to get that off and nobody remembers it because you don't have a face on here. You get to be an invisible avatar. I don't. So at least I showed up to play ball. If I dropped 0 for 50 today, fine. I showed up to play ball. But that's the thing about it. That's part of the responsibility that we all share, and why I always try to sympathize with those who make content and put their face out there, because it's just not easy. I've been doing this for almost 20 plus years as an artist, producer, and now in this content space. It's not easy. It's not easy for ABSA, I'm sure, to receive, all this attention because, Lupe didn't hold back. But at the same time, I see it from both points of views, and that I'm not trying to water it down, but I see points of views that I'm like, after I sat back and I was like, okay, if I can move aside my issues with how he interpreted the battle and just think about what he's doing, I can see the opportunity here and what some of the inspiration may be for it. Now, I DM'd him because I told him I didn't want to make the same mistake I made last time, but just going and doing stories and not reaching out to him. He said you could reach out to him. I didn't hear back from him quite yet, but that's fine. He don't owe me his time. But I do want to get into this because we've talked about AI many a times on this channel, and a lot of y'all was like, what that funky ass AI on this channel? We'll talk about it. So I'm going to get to it. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's get into the story.
DIY.
Oh, DIYers. I cannot tell you the amount of y'all that hit me up about this news of Lupe Fiasco announcing 2 platforms or 2 ideas, one of which is causing a significant amount of controversy because, of course, it's your favorite 2 letters in the world, AI, and I'm just being sarcastic when I say that. So many of you are skeptical. You have been skeptical of AI. I myself have been critical of some of the people behind AI, and when we talk about Udio and Suno and the way that they are, that they now, I don't know if you saw the updates, that as they were getting sued, they finally admitted that they were using music that already existed, that they didn't own the rights to train their models. And that's how you got things like BBL Drizzy and so on and so on. That was my issue as an artist, because I'm like, how you just gonna do that without permission and there's no laws in place to stop it? With that said, there's always a healthy amount of criticism, cynicism when it comes to the topic of AI. So as you can imagine, Lupe, who is coming off a year in which I think he released one of the best albums of the year in Samurai, and having it, in my opinion, unfortunately be overshadowed by some of the controversies or the controversial stances that he took, I think that some people were just waiting on another opportunity to get at your mans. With that said, he made an announcement here 4 days ago on his Instagram page announcing 2 different things. I'm going to read this right here. So with this pink artwork that says Rhyme and Shop, Lupe says 2025 we will also see the rollout of 2 new platforms for Lupe fans, Rhyme and Shop and Endless Loop. Keep Endless Loop in mind because that's the one that's causing hell. First, Rhyme and Shop, right? Kind of spelled like ramen, but Rhyme and Shop is my multimedia creative musical sandbox. Ramen Shop's DCS or data compression services program is small batch. Physical music releases are flavors, okay, available only to holders of Ramen Shop DCS USB cards or bowls. I'll break all that stuff down for you in just a second, but I want to continue to read what he put up here. New ramen flavors go into the bowls. The first set of Ramen Shop DCS bowls, version 1 bowls, were released during the Samurai tour. If you were lucky enough to receive one, I highly suggest you hang on to it, as it would only way to get the upcoming flavors. So, in a nutshell, this Ramen Shop, it's unfortunate that the story even here that's going to dominate is not this one. He found a really dope way, and I want you to keep this in mind as a reoccurring theme. He found a dope way in which he can use, and I've showed you guys this before, a USB card. And the USB card was a card that was limited run, exclusive run, and you had to buy a certain amount of merchandise in order to get access to this. So it's really direct to consumer, but physical media type situation. On it, he'll put remixes and all these different versions of Samurai, the album that he had. And it was something that required you to go to his shows to load up on it. Innovative ideas, super dope. I'm gonna continue here though. So exclusive music and tons of rewards for going to pop-up events and concerts. All right, so that's that one. Next one is Endless Loop. Let me see if this is actually in here. Where is it at? And now Endless Loop. Okay, so Endless Loop. He says, imagine if there was a 24-hour, fully AI-powered radio station trained on all the intricacies of my rapping abilities and was carefully refined to produce the highest quality possible Lupe Fiasco songs. Now imagine it only played a generated song once and never again endlessly. Now, imagine that radio station was only available for certain periods of time and only in certain locations, and you needed an actual FM radio to hear the songs. Imagine I put together a team. I put a team together at MIT, and imagine we actually built it. Endless Loop coming soon. Now, on the surface, I think that most points of views, and you can look in the commentary, were like, this is innovative. This is dope. It's great to see you expanding outside of just, not even saying just, but outside of the genius of your creative art, the selfless way that you're sharing the art of rapping and the technical skill of rapping and the different places that you're doing this in. People are like, that's dope. The other side of it was, why you over there playing with them folks in AI? Why are you giving access to the culture, giving access to things that we should otherwise be gatekeeping? Why are you giving it to them folks? But I think that that's an assumption really that got driven by a lot of point of views, but really particularly, I think this video by ABSA, and shout out to ABSA. That's a channel we definitely have shown a lot of love to. ABSA, I think, was a Patreon member of mine for some time. So shout out to her. I know she's doing, you know what I'm saying? She's given a point of view that she feels like in which ways this is problematic, right? Whether it's his association with MIT Institute, whether it's just his openness to share his art through the form of AI. This is a video many of y'all hit me up about, and I said, okay, all right, cool. Well, let me watch it. And I watched it. It was rather scathing, to say the least. Rather scathing, to say the least. It says Lupe Fiasco's Judas, comparing him to Judas from the Bible, Judas, the one that betrayed Jesus. Lupe's Fiasco's Judas strategy. Endless Loop. Well, not even a day after this video goes live, Lupe goes live. And I saw this as I was waking up this morning. My Sunday was supposed to be a lot different than today, but I told myself 2025, I'm staying on it. So I screen recorded this live stream. It ran for like 3 hours. I cut it down for you down to 30 minutes to get some of the points, because the points that she brings up, which she's going to respond to the actual video in this video. So it's a response of a response. That's crazy. Whatever. A reaction of a reaction. There were valid points. And I think a lot of people have a healthy amount of skepticism in who are you putting these God-given gifts that the culture of hip hop values so much. Who are you putting this in the hands of, and why? I think he clears up a lot of things, and I think it's worthy of a conversation. So this is directly from my Dropbox. I don't think you can find this nowhere else as it is right now. So peep it out.
Because I made a promise not to be on social media, so I was like, I'm gonna give myself one live this year before I go back to building my ship. I announced January 1st that we will be launching 2 new programs for Lupe Fiasco, and I want to kind of just use this to expound on that and respond to this very sneaky video that this woman just put out, which I will be addressing deeply, and hopefully in that answer and address a bunch of issues that people are having with me personally, but then also the things I'm doing professionally and in the spaces that I'm in. Rhyme and Shop, which is something that I've been building for years, actually. Rhyme and Shop is kind of like my mixtapes, loosies, one-offs, things that don't really fit comfortably on albums, things that aren't really full-length album projects, that don't necessarily require or I think demand or deserve like full-blown marketing things. So I don't think it's things that are meant for like the full public. I don't think it's things that the full public would kind of appreciate.
Uh-oh, y'all already starting. That sneaky comment got y'all? Here's the thing about it. This is heavily edited. I'm telling you right now, because as y'all saw in the interview that I had with him, he has a very unique way of getting to that point that he wants to get to, and he wants to make sure that we have all the details and context. This is part of the thing that helps him in his art and the genius in his art, but it's also the part that sometimes can be frustrating, I know, for listeners, as you guys expressed many a times in our interview. But at this point, we haven't even got to the video. He's explaining the first thing, which I think for any independent artist in here, you definitely should be listening up, because it's a dope idea to have a card that people can always update music and don't need the reliance on streaming websites, all that stuff. But let's cook.
For various reasons. Not that it's whack or it's weak or it's watered down. It's just that the nature of it doesn't extend itself to be a full album or anything like that. So I created this space called Rhyming Shop where I could just like just create. And some of the stuff is like practice. Some of the stuff is like very interesting little concepts or little mini concepts and stuff like that. So instead of just kind of having that stuff languishing or laying around, well, not being really used, or just uploading it randomly to YouTube or something like that, like freestyles and stuff, different stuff like that, I decided to just create this rollout platform called Rhyming Shop. And it's available to like a very exclusive set of fans. It's not trying to create like a money grab or anything like that. It's just that I know like it's not, the mass market's not going to enjoy it. So it's like, but I do have fans who would fuck with it. So it's like, let me create it.
So what I wanted, the reason I kept this in the edit, right? Because I know that you want to get to his reaction, because he actually plays ABSA's video, right? And I want this to be less about ABSA, right? Because I don't want it to be something where folks are dogpiling upon her point of view, because I think that it takes a lot of work to put yourself out there. It takes a lot of heart to put yourself out there with a viewpoint that people won't find popular or won't, agree with. So it's less about that and more so I think that she brought to light, in my opinion, she brought to light a lot of the things that people were thinking for themselves, but maybe didn't have the ability to articulate. Now, whether or not those things are accurate, according to Lupe, he addresses a lot of those. I try to get the ones I thought that were the most important, at least to this conversation about hip hop and AI.
And we rolled it out during the Samurai tour. So if you got one of those little USB cards on tour that had the Samurai mixtape, this is where the first version of Rhyming Shop will roll out. So whenever you come, if you got one of these, if you were lucky enough to get one, we gave one to the first 10 fans who came in and bought $100 worth of merch, and you got one of these cards. On that card is the Samurai Tour mixtape, which is some unreleased, some remixes, some other stuff like that. We're going to keep that program going. The third piece, and this is what we're going to talk about.
Before he gets into that, I kept that part in there. The context is necessary. I am an artist of 20 plus years. I know artists like the back of my hand, and I know when they're ready to leave and sell all the goods like a going out of business sale. I look at this part of it and I feel like this is the part that everybody overlooks because it's not the salacious part, which is the AI. I don't think somebody ready to give up the culture, ready to give in to all, just let them have it all. I don't think that's the actions or behaviors of somebody who wants to give it up. To me, I look at this and I say, this is one step, because as you saw, in which it seems like Lupe's trying to get people to leave their houses. Because you can only charge that card up, not by being in front of your computer, but by going to shows and going to pop-up events. Just something I think that's worthy of bringing up.
Today, it's called Endless Loop. Endless Loop is a fully AI-powered radio station that I've been building for the past couple years since I've been at MIT. So working on it, coming up with different rollouts and plans and projects and stuff like that. I've given 2 talks about Endless Loop in the setting of like how are artists responding to AI and what are some ways that artists should be either antagonistic toward AI, that they should be protective of AI, and other places where they should embrace AI, and then what does that look like? Endless Loop was my kind of, if this is me fully.
KJ says I'm giving Lupe a lot of bail. I don't think you understand. I sat there in that 2-hour conversation, And if you saw the frustration that ensued, I am the last person that Lupe probably expects to jump in here and do these videos. But I am somebody that's able to look at this and say, is it a possibility? Is it a possibility? Curtis suffered like Jesus on the cross. Chill, D. Is it a possibility that because of his weird viewpoints on Kendrick and his weird viewpoints on that, just in general of that situation, that some of us, I'll say what I thought was weird. Is it possible that you've already turned a deaf ear to everything he does, and that this is an opportunity to jump all over the man without looking at the opportunity? Never mind. Y'all ain't listen. Some of y'all ain't listening to me, but continue.
Autonomous. What does that look like? So let me train a model that we built. When I say we, my team at MIT.
Don't let your fandom blind you is what I'm saying.
Writing model, right? And then we built a Lupe Fiasco kind of style model. So things that I would write. It trained it on my songs, my data, my freestyles, and things like that. And then the music comes from Suno and other places like Music Generation. And then we created a space where you could take the writing, and we trained it on my voice, so it has my voice in different tones and textures and different things like that. And then you take the writing, the voice, the beats, and then we put it in a space where it all can kind of generate together, and it basically just generates Lupe Fiasco records or Lupe Fiasco sounding records. And then it was like, okay, we can do this. Where does this live? And that's where the decision was like, well, what if it's something that is for free, so you don't have to pay for it, but it's also something that you can't record. So it's not something that can be recorded. It's not something that can be like captured or archived. Like once it plays, it's done. You hear it once. So it's very ephemeral. So we're like, well, what if it's a radio station? So we're like, okay, let's create this radio station.
See, what I'm getting from this, and we haven't even got to the part where he's reacting to her video, what I'm getting from this is that the misstep that Lupe possibly made, first and foremost with that announcement here, is it not coming from his voice first. Because the more that I listen to what this is, it doesn't align with my first impressions of when I saw the news drop. I think that using a press release, using a post on Instagram may serve a purpose for his core audience, but the more that he starts to describe this endless loop, the more that I realize like it's really easy to let a narrative just run. But he should have showed face. This live stream could have done a lot more. Could have did a lot more justice, but we're here now.
And so that taking all those elements together, you get Endless Loop. So the thing with Endless Loop, even though we announced it January 1st, Endless Loop probably won't be available. It's built now and it works and it functions. But Endless Loop probably won't be available to the public for another maybe 6 months. And then the kicker with Endless Loop is I can kind of guarantee that 90% of you will never hear it.
You ever see that meme with the monkey that go like this? There's a lot of anger right now surrounding the idea of a product that we won't get the full intent. We won't get the full idea of what it is until 6 months later from right now. There's a lot of anger around an idea. And you know what's crazy? I think that a lot of folks made the assumption that he's giving it to somebody and he's not leading this actual technology. He clears that up. But I think that's something that sometimes is a little bit of a bias versus rappers. Don't forget, day one, I don't care who it is, I'm going to always be an advocate for artists first. Because that's my tribe, right? The assumption was just that it's some white guy he gave it to. I'm looking at this and I'm like, no, he keeps saying my team and I, my team and I. And I think that's something he starts to clear up more and more. Justin said,
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Continue, Lupe.
Because Endless Loop will only be available in very, very like extreme spots. So it'll only broadcast within like 30 yards. And the plan is to only put certain Endless Loop broadcast stations like in the middle of the desert.
So this man is okay, let me get this straight. This man has created a USB card that forces his fans to go to shows in order to get access to music that they otherwise can't get off the internet. So he's getting his fans to go outside. He's also setting up this endless loop radio that is supposed to generate Lupe-based songs, a machine that's been trained to create Lupe songs that you can't get on the internet access, but you must drive to a location like the Mojave Desert and listen to it, not on your phone, but on FM radio. He's getting his fans to use physical music again. He's getting his fans to leave their homes to listen to music on their radio. Am I tone deaf?
We're like in the middle of the forest, right?
That sounds like a DIY dream.
Building in New York City, and you need to have an FM radio to actually hear it. So it's not going to be an easy thing.
It's a Trojan horse.
And that's
okay.
my design. It was never meant to be something that was easily accessible. I mean, you have Lupe Fiasco Classic. That's why you have Spotify and all these other things. So this is a video that this woman made.
All right. Now we're starting to get into the video. Yeah. So he's starting to answer some direct things. And I think that ABSA brought up she articulated a lot of her points in a way that the reason the reason the video is being so successful, because there are people who share those viewpoints anytime you mention AI and music. I am somebody who's been making music, and I get it. But he answers a lot of these questions a lot better than he was answering questions to me. Lord Jesus, it took like 14 years to get to. But it's not about me.
And I only listened to about the first 2 minutes of this, if that. So I don't know what's going to happen after 2 minutes. It's like 11 minutes long. But I do want to go, and I reached out to her to see if she wanted to talk, ask for her email address, and, she wanted MIT Communications to reach out to her officially. And it's like,
oh, wow.
Anybody got time for that?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. That would have been an interesting conversation to see between ABSA and Lupe. I would have liked to see that, because I think that she is... the way that she circulates around her points are very brilliant, but according to him, she wanted to hear from someone at MIT directly. And I don't know. It's funny. I was talking to Justin. I was like, I don't know how much something like this happens because of an interview with me, and people are like, "No, you're not gonna Curtis King me." I don't want to be nobody verb, but continue.
So I decided to like, you know what? Let me use my one Instagram Live token for the year to address this, because I think this will set the tone for the rest of this year. This is one project that I'm kind of deeply vested in and rolling out. I want to make sure that people get it like correctly. Right,
Got
so
it.
Hip hop, a genre born from the survival and cultures of Black people, revolutionized music by giving Black voices a platform to tell their stories and our collective history. It's more than a sound.
One could argue that there were music forms prior to that. There were Black music forms, which also allow Black people to tell their stories. There's poetry, there's gospel music, there's other musical forms and creative forms that gave Black people a voice. Hip hop doesn't have an exclusivity to that. And I would also preface that by saying that it's the technology and the ease. And even then, even when hip hop first started, everybody didn't have access to be able to go into the studio and rap. That wasn't the case. And people didn't have everybody.
No, that is not an AI voice. That is a channel here, ABSA effing Lutely, to someone we've definitely reacted to content and shown nothing but love to ABSA effing Lutely. So she's live right now. In case you already are up to speed and you watch this live stream, I absolutely suggest you go hear it from the source. But yeah, this is just me honestly reacting to two things at once. It's one, reacting to the news of him doing this, and two, the backlash that has ensued, because ABSA is not the only one that felt a certain way about seeing this. Obviously, some of y'all are expressing some opposition to it as well.
Everybody wasn't allowed on stage to get the mic either, right? So it was still like a select few of people, unlike today, which we'll get into, which is why this talk about AI is so relevant. But even that's kind of like an oversimplification of the initial conditions in which rap, and let's talk about rap. And just to be clear, I don't teach hip hop. Lupe Fiasco is not a teacher of hip hop. That's not in any of my syllabus. That's not in any of my credentials. I don't teach hip hop at MIT. I don't teach hip hop at Johns Hopkins. I will not be teaching hip hop. I teach rap.
I wish you would have said that during our interview. Golly.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna
And I don't want to keep making it about, I'm sorry, I don't want to be making it about me, but I wish you would have said that when we had this conversation, because that probably would have cut it down to like an hour. As he'll explain, it's part of the, because we had, all of us had kind of opposition to thinking about like, wait a minute, wait. How can you teach hip hop if and not listen to one of the biggest battles of our era? And he's like, no, I'm teaching rap. I wish you'd have just said that, because now he's talking about breaking down the technical skill and the language and the intricacies and all of that. Okay. But Justin said it, man. I was talking to him. Something about them folks from Chicago, man. They just, him, Kanye, they be misunderstood. It's just the way they go about, the way they express things, that sometimes it's just like, they're mean. But okay, so he's teaching rap, so that is why he wouldn't tap it. Okay, all right, cool.
Right,
I'm getting a little PTSD a little bit. I ain't gonna lie.
Teach an artistic, creative, whatever you want to call it, element within the cultural complex of hip hop, which actually predates hip hop. All of the elements that are within the cultural complex of hip hop predate hip hop. That includes dancing and graffiti. Rap predates it. It was brought into the cultural complex of hip hop. But I just want to clarify that.
Okay.
So when people use hip hop, I'm not teaching hip hop. I aggressively deny that I teach hip hop. We actually have a professor at MIT who teaches hip hop.
It's a culture and a living archive of the human experience. Lupe Fiasco has...
I don't know if I look at that as, I'm looking at some of the point of views. Thank you for the super chats too, by the way. I don't think he's trying to separate rap from hip hop. I think he's saying that, it's one of my oldies last night that I talked to, who was saying that, rap existed way before the Sugar Hill Gang, don't you? And he started bringing up names. Matter of fact, I don't even got the name access, but he started bringing up names and showing me songs from like the 40s and 50s where they're using some of the technical skills of rapping. It just didn't have a name to it, right? Whether you want to rewind back to the Dozens and say that was around before it was an actual title and it was a part of one of the elements of hip hop. When you look at it from that point of view and it's explained that way, it's a lot easier to see why somebody has that point of view. But Lupe be Lupe sometimes, and it's like Lupe in the third, you gotta be there with him. He ain't gonna bring you with him. You gotta be there with him. Okay.
long since been considered one of the culture's most dedicated disciples.
Really? I got a history of niggas not fucking with me, especially from the culture. I've been shitted on and hated on since we first started for small mistakes, even things that wasn't my fault. So I've never done Summer Jam. I always tease Ebro whenever y'all see me go in there and fuck with Ebro and Hot 97. The backstory is like, nigga, you've never even invited me to Summer Jam, not even to go. And that was like pivotal hip hop shit. And it's like, you don't do that. Don't.
Okay, here's what I gotta say though. I get his point, because he explains it in how much opposition, when he got in the building, how much he had to fight for his position, how much his style of approach to music was not the popular way to do it, how much he fought with his label at Atlantic. I also think that this is what fuels the narrative for anybody that thinks that you'd be willing to sell the craft off to the man, quote unquote, to the man. I think this only fuels that narrative when they hear this perspective of, oh, you don't feel like you were respected? I'm not saying that that's something for him to clear up or da-da-da-da. I just think that that's something that makes people say, what you over there doing with that AI? Just bringing up points.
Don't do that shit now. Like, now I've been just this dude that you all embraced for years and decades in the culture. Not from my experience. I've always got love from the people who've shown me love, and I've always respected everyone that I've walked into. But let's not make it seem like I was the golden child from the jump, right? People were not fucking with me. I know that for a fact. And I've had to fight and bite and kick through every single shit that I've ever received. Now that I'm in a position, then it's kind of retroactively people want to like put me in this big position like I was the fucking man, but only in the context which you'll see to kind of tear me down. But I've never been that guy. Let's not do that.
Lupe Fiasco, a celebrated lyricist and self-proclaimed protector of hip-hop, has chosen to betray the culture and its art by collaborating with MIT to train artificial intelligence to write and perform rap music.
So I've been working with MIT for 6 years, very indirectly, very loosely. And when I say that, going up there for a day to visit a professor, going to speak in a class. But fast forward to now, I've been a professor, a visiting scholar and professor at MIT officially on the books, where I'm actually getting paid for 2 years as an MLK fellow, which is the Martin Luther King Fellowship, which is specifically designed back in the 90s to bring Black professors and scholars into the institute, to give them a doorway and a reason to be able to come to MIT and participate in the labs and get funding and all these other things that they wouldn't have been able to get at their home colleges, wherever they were from, to participate in kind of those programs and processes. And it's not just the arts or the humanities, which is actually a very tiny part of MIT.
In an Instagram post, Lupe introduced this MIT collaboration known as ENDLESS LUP. The post says the following: imagine if there was a 24-hour, fully AI-powered radio station trained on all the intricacies of my rapping abilities and was carefully refined to produce the highest quality possible Lupe Fiasco songs. Now, imagine it only played a generated song once and never again endlessly. Now imagine that radio station was only available for certain periods of
Yeah, just for clarity, he is reacting to ABSA's video.
time.
Or he was reacting. This is earlier today.
And only in certain locations. And you needed an actual FM radio to hear the songs.
D, thank you for saying this. Okay, let me address this real quick, because I once again I was talking to my guy Justin about this. This version of Lupe would be great to interview. He's taking some breaths and letting the other people, a person, video in this case, speak. Hey, don't be sending no shots at me. I'm just playing. I agree. I'll tell you this. By the time I got out of this live streaming, I was there for 2 hours for y'all. I did this for y'all. Okay, I did this for y'all. I have no advantage of having a 2-hour Lupe video inside my phone right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put it in. I did this for y'all. I love y'all. Okay. Second of all, as I listen to this one, you know what I think is the difference? He's around people that he trusts. It's about 500 people in this Instagram, and you obviously know these are people who are tapped in with him. Those are people who are fans, who have bought hard tickets, who have probably bought this USB device from him. These are people that it seems like are going to let him get his points off. So I think when he came in here with me, he didn't know what kind of timing I was on. He didn't even know who I was. He didn't know I worked with a lot of his collaborators like Daylight and ABSA. So he came in here, I think, expecting it to be on 10, because who the hell am I? He don't know me. Same way I don't know him as a human being. I don't, right? I think that he would thrive in a podcast because, one, it doesn't force him upon people who don't want to hear from him. But at the same time, it allows him to get to his points however the way he sees fit. We had questions that day when we were asking him, and he wanted to have like a very casual way of getting to it, and it frustrated the living hell out of me and everybody else. In this platform where he talked to his fans at the end of it, so much easier to listen to. So I think like this is just a matter of, that's just artists sometimes too. I'm not making no excuses, but that's artists. Some artists you get like Chief Keef. Think about his interviews in the very beginning. Also from Chicago. Golly.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
And I love Chicago. I love the products of what is a byproduct of Chicago. But Chief Keef came into the game. He wasn't really I shouldn't say articulate. He wasn't articulating his thoughts in the way that he's articulating his thoughts when he's sitting with a Nardwuar now. So these are things that it just seems like it's a level of comfortability, and where the artist feels the most comfortable, that's the interview you get. And not the person that's like, so why'd you sleep with her? Huh? Like, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like this is a better environment for him to get these thoughts off, in my opinion.
Imagine I put a team together at MIT, and imagine we actually built it. Endless Loop, coming soon.
Right, so that's Endless Loop, right? And she just basically described what I just told you. I don't see anything like malicious or ill intent. You don't have to pay for it. Like, majority of you are never even going to be able to see it or listen to it. You know, like, I just don't understand. But I do understand, and you will soon too.
I think that's also part of the reason, the point I made earlier. When you put that into the world, the same, you know what's funny? It was the same situation with the Drake thing. He left a comment about, hey, Dame, just sell that Reasonable Doubt share to Jay-Z. Or no, sell that Reasonable Doubt Jay-Z share to Drake. And he just bounced. It's like, your timing. Why the hell you say that? And that was the whole reason we had questions. I think the same thing happens here. He dropped an idea and, you know, some people got it. Some people were like, I'm with it. Some people were like, what are you doing?
This decision is a monumental betrayal of the culture.
Monumental betrayal of the culture. Hang on to that.
Lupe Fiasco's decision to partner with MIT on AI rap development comes under the guise of creating perfect art, but its consequence...
That's not under the guise. I've never said that. I don't think that AI creates perfect art. If anything, I think it creates imperfect art. I know for a fact, AI platforms or machine learning platforms, they actually operate suboptimally, right? They actually operate suboptimally on purpose. And the reason that they operate suboptimally on purpose is because the end consumer of all AI products are humans, right? And humans by nature, literally by their nature, are suboptimal, right? Meaning that we cannot take and absorb all of the data that we get hit with every millisecond of the day. We go crazy. So we operate at a certain level of sub-optimization, and we parse out data and parse out experiences in certain ways, and we fill in the gaps because it's too much information to process. That's perception. That's the basis and the nature of perception.
Okay.
Period. I've studied cognitive science. It's part of my class. It's part of Rap Theory and Practice course. We talk about it at SOSA. Like, I'm not making any of this shit up. Like, I study it for real. The human brain doesn't process at 100%. It does not. It cannot. It will never. With that said, AI or machine learning, because there's a difference between AI and machine learning, it operates at a suboptimal level. It actually allows for imperfections, right? By its nature and the way it works, it's an imperfect system. And even still, when we're talking about subjective things like art and the interpretation of art, whether it be music or visuals or videos, there's no way to create the perfect anything because there's too many variables to take into consideration. There's too many different POVs and points of view.
Using Black art and innovation as raw material for projects that ultimately serve white capitalist interests.
I can guarantee you that the training data that the majority of AI models are trained on, the percentage of that is Black cultural material that you can claim exclusively as Black cultural material is a drop in the bucket compared to what they're compared to the rest of the data. And this was crazy because it's a double-edged sword. If you removed the pure Black cultural component out of it, it wouldn't change the quality of the data in any significant way. But then the flip side is you had people for years, and this was in the past few years, especially during the pandemic, who were worried about that there wasn't enough Black data or purely Black data represented in the data sets.
He's not lying.
AIs and these machine learning algorithms are being trained on. So now you got two competing things. You don't want these algorithms trained on quote unquote Black data because you feel like it's being used to finance white capitalist procurement and bondage of Black resources, and it's leaving Black people in there, which is, I'm not valid. But at the same time, too, there's an argument coming from the same community that Black people and Black culture aren't being represented enough or being overlooked. You put your hand underneath the soap dispenser at the airport and it doesn't read your hand because it hasn't been trained on Black skin. That shit is like, okay, you need to...
I mean, look.
Somebody gonna have to tell the
Be angry all you want at the messenger. Call them. I see narcissists being thrown in here. I see all kind of crazy things. Say what you want about the messenger. But even a broken clock is right. Was it 2 times a day? I'll be forgetting. It's 2 times a day. Whatever it is. This makes sense. Do we not? So I get the argument of not wanting AI to come in here and comb through the culture that people have invested their blood, sweat, and tears, literally lost their lives to create, cultivate, to contribute nuance to. I get protecting that and wanting that to not be touched by an AI or touched by somebody in Silicon Valley. I've said this in Silicon Valley and have them, ravage it and then replace people and then make these computerized versions that we don't get to enjoy the royalties off of. I get that. At the same time, those same people are not, I don't think those are the same group, but there exists another group who has some overlappage in those ideas that also says, but we need representation in Silicon Valley. I think the reason why people are saying, oh, AI is the devil is because they're looking at the people behind it and what their goals may be. So we have to either be in the game or are we going to look as a spectator because this shit is already going to happen. What you going to do to stop AI? You going to jump on Siri and you going to be like, hey, Siri, where can I go protest this AI shit? What you going to do? What's your plan of action? Don't use it? As it's using your dumb ass, what's the plan of action? Tell me what the plan of action is. I'm tired of all the fake anger. What's the plan of action? What we gonna do? You talking about that same phone that you pick up and you leave in the house and it's telling you, are you on your way to the gym? You mean that training? How you gonna avoid it? How you gonna avoid it? I'm gonna stop yelling. How you gonna avoid it when you in a chat that literally has the kind of automation you're trying to avoid? If YouTube did not utilize AI, we wouldn't be able to have these conversations. You wouldn't get a notification, damn it, that I'm live. So I look, be mad at the messenger, but the message is making a whole lot of sense right now. You're slow. Okay.
We got, you know what I'm saying? Like we need to come up. We have to have you get what I'm saying? And I'm telling you this. This is Lupe telling you this. All you artists, all you producers, all you performers. I'm telling you this right now.
Oh, you're gonna hate this one.
AI and machine learning can do everything that you can do better and faster.
You know how like you defend a friend of yours in front of your other friends and they like, you wrong for defending him. And he say some shit like this and you like, stop. Like, I know you feel that. You saying too much. I got to defend you. I got to live here, Craig. That's one of the moments. What you talking about, Lupe?
I'm telling you. You ain't got to believe me. You can fight me in the street when you see me. You can boycott my shit. It's not going to change the fact that I'm telling you. And if you don't trust anything else that I tell you, period. Okay? Period. If you don't think that AI, at the state that it is, even in the state that it's in right now, and that's just what's released and deliverables, can accomplish and do everything that you can do better, you have a rude awakening in about like 6 months. Okay,
so let's unpack that a bit. I mean, I can't unpack what his point is and all of this, but in some degree, in some ways, I super agree with this. Matter of fact, trace my YouTube channel and you'll see videos in which I said, here's a producer that's about to get replaced first by AI. I've been saying this for some time. My thing is, he seems to be like alluding to this replacing everybody, every producer and every artist. And I don't think every single artist, every single producer, every single consumer is made in the same vein, right? I'm sure that he's talking about things that he has access to, whether it's information or people that he works with that have shown him develop versions of Udio and Suno and all these AI generating websites that would blow your mind. Because yes, we're just getting the first beta versions of some of this shit. And I know you've seen some of the video. It still look a little AI-ish, whatever that means. But it's getting pretty damn good in a very short amount of time. With that said, though, I still believe that there are artists and producers out here who either they know it or they didn't know it, but y'all been playing the role of ChatGPT your whole career. I'm gonna say it.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Amen. Amen. Hold on. I said, some of y'all have been playing the role of AI your whole career. What do I mean? You've been ChatGPT. You've been copying your favorite rappers every single time they drop new music and figuring out how you can copy it in a way that people didn't know that you were copying it. Some of y'all can't stay away from auto-tune because you're such an you're so influenced by the Uzi Verts of the world and the Lil Babies, and you don't want to sound like somebody that stands out because there are consequences that come with that. Some of y'all been trying to be ChatGPT a long time. Some producers, even though some of them use it as a way of putting themselves in front of other people, and it's a great marketing tool through type beats, you've become another version, a very watered down version of your favorite producer. AI is going to replace you first because it can do it better. It can source things faster. It can do it more consistently. It can do it efficient. You know what AI don't say? I got a headache. I don't feel like making music today. No, AI gonna jump in there and generate that old bullshit has been generating, and it's only gonna get better and better and better and better. Now, what I do draw issue with is I think that makes artists better in the process. Why? Because some artists are gonna become hybrids that take AI, combine it with their own creativity, and get more creative. Some of y'all get ChatGPT and you become stupider with your prompts. Tell me I'm lying. Make a photo of a blue dog. You're still not creative. AI is not going to solve that. So what I'm saying is that I'm with Lupe in the points that he's making. Like, dog, this is going to replace a good chunk of people. But I think that the Lupes are working in combination with it. And from what I perceive, they're working in combination with it because you being a hybrid artist of AI plus what you're doing allows you to do things that Elvis couldn't do in his time period. Childish Gambino said this. He said, could you imagine if Elvis lived in a world that had even a fraction of the automation we do? He said he'd probably be a better actor. But because recording took so long back in his day, because of all the different things, the different steps that were required just in making music, he wasn't able to dedicate his time to being somebody that was a DIY or creative in different ways. We're living in that time now. So I think that as AI develops, I do believe that there will be some human beings who will evolve in a different way, and some of y'all who will get replaced, and it's good because y'all came to hit a lick on this shit anyways. I'm talking too much on Sunday. Continue.
And all of this is old. You're witnessing the rollout. And I'm going to clarify before I close to give you a sense of hope. I'm just trying to show you that, like, hey, this is a way that you can kind of grapple with it. Here's a way that you can kind of use it and still make it make sense and keep yourself in the midst of the conversation or keep yourself credible, right? As this wave comes. Because the people that are creating this, you know, and I've met them, like the dude who created it, they're not interested. They didn't create it for you. They didn't create it to like, oh, I want to make some raps. Like, niggas weren't thinking about that. They're not thinking about that. They're like, yo, how can I get this to identify cancer, right? Like, how can I get this to identify, you know, some trend in the market, right? How can I get this to like identify some on like an asteroid that's coming from space? They didn't invent this shit to take rap away from niggas.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
But imagine if we didn't have anybody in the room. Imagine if we didn't have anybody in the room that, whether adjacent, whether as a participant, imagine if we had nobody in the room. You know what happens when we have nobody in the room with AI? We get that dumbass rapper called Effin' Mecca. Remember that stupid ass? The one that sounded like the AI version of Tekashi 6ix9ine. Remember that? Remember that guy? You remember when he was using all them niggas in a song? I don't know if you've seen him. It was an AI developed rapper who was using a ton of N-words in his music. You know who was his coder? You know who coded that? A white male. I look at this and I'm like, if AI is inevitable, if the takeover of AI and whatever that means is inevitable, and 1,000 years from right now, somebody looks and uses this technology and says, tell me a little bit about your time and what raps sound like, what a lyricist sound like. Don't give me effing Mecca. Give me one of the Lupes of the world, who's still one of the elite. I don't care what your personal views are, still one of the most elite lyricists of our time. Give me that. Give me the other folks that represent that and whatever you think that is, whether it's the Nas's, the Kendricks, the Jay-Z's, the whoever is your representation of it. Because there will be a time that you and I won't be here. And there will be a time that people will look back on this and the legacy that will stand. Because I'm telling you, with AI is so damn powerful. Yes, it's taking up a lot of energy and there's implications in the environment that come with that. But they're building literal buildings to house all the information that is happening. Is there things to be concerned about? Yes. Every time new technology comes, there's things to be concerned about. And I'm not trying to belittle this in no way, but I look at this and it makes me so frustrated because I'm like, my people, we got to be there. We got to be at the table. That's why when ASCAP hit me up and said, are you willing to come to Nashville to talk about AI? I said, yes. Even though I know most of my peers are going to be like, what you doing that for? Because we got to be in the room. Because if not, we've seen this movie before. I'm with you. I did not expect that when I watched this live today, but I'm with you, Lupe, on that one.
I better stop, man.
Niggas don't want you.
Like, yeah, we can invest billions and billions and billions of dollars into a technology so we can take rap away from niggas. Like, that ain't what this is. I appreciate the fear and I appreciate that sentiment that you don't want something that you barely support. Just to keep it a buck, that you barely support, a craft in a genre that you barely support.
Nigga, oh my God, I could punch a hole I could kick a row of treadmills down. That you barely support. You know, I love where hip hop is at right now. I love it. But I also remember a time. Let me get this chat back here. I also remember a time where, we're going to go back to it. I got to get this chat back on my screen so I can see what you guys are saying. I also remember a time where the things that were getting consumed, the things that were getting streamed was very much the opposite of what we traditionally see as hip hop. It wasn't lyricism. It wasn't that being celebrated. It took a battle for people to be breaking down double entendres in the way that they are across TikTok and all these different age groups. It took so many things happening that people changed their focus. They got dehypnotized by whatever was popular at the time. So as I'm seeing people who are now like, yeah, we gotta gatekeep, when the gate been open, and some of the folks out here then opened it for everybody else, when some of the folks willingly gave it up, and he talks about this to the labels, willingly gave it up. I'm one of the artists that willingly gave it up to a Spotify and an Apple Music. What are we talking about? We've already done it. Nah, you're not going to hear me today. I'm going to just go ahead and keep on doing this. You're just going to have to hate me today. That's cool.
Now you're more worried about this AI taking it away from people who you barely support in the first place. That's wild. Problem is, y'all don't love this shit. Y'all love money. You love fame and bitches and chains and cars. And you really don't give a fuck about rap. And then you witness somebody who really, really does, and it's strange and foreign to you, so you want to kill it. You want to destroy it. You want to fuck it up. You want to talk bad about it. You want to criticize it. You can't take that somebody's like, this all you do all day. Like, yeah, this is what I do. This is what I love. You used to a motherfucker just like, nah, I just do this because it's my side hustle or some shit like that. And that's what got this shit fucked up.
You guys are asking, who is he talking about? Who do I think he's talking about? I think he's talking about rappers in this time period who have prioritized consumerism, have prioritized the SKUs. So many SKUs. They prioritize, and it's not just one person. I think it's a lot of people. It's a lot of artists. It's a lot of underground artists, a lot of independent artists who have prioritized the money accomplishments, the stream accomplishments over the actual art. There are some people who, you know, they value the content significantly more than they do the actual art of making music. those are some people that I could see that being pointed in the direction of. When I see this, I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's an artist that you could have supported 2 years ago that was giving you some of the things that you say that you value in a Kendrick. And that's not any kind of thing to Kendrick. If anything, it's an appreciation for Kendrick, which is why I'm so surprised at all the lyricists, including Lupe at one point, where I definitely was critical of him in that video, who are not jumping up and saying, look, this is a time period to collectively up the economy of this segment of rap. This segment of rap that does this kind of focus. This is a different. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, he is also pointing a finger, not just at those rappers, but pointing a finger also to the fans who was like, we got to protect this. You know how you protect it? You finance it. You know how you strengthen what you want to see in terms of music? You put your money where your mouth is. You don't let Spotify hypnotize you and tell you to just to stream whatever they tell you to stream. You go find that album to go buy. And artists, you got to make it available. And if you don't make it available, is it such a crazy statement to think that you value the the look of shit, the fame of shit, more so the clout of shit than you actually value the craft and the experience that you could give to your audience? Be mad at the messenger, but I've echoed a lot of these messages on this channel for years.
As much as you want to try and put it on me, you're destroying the culture, you're doing this, you're doing that. The moment that y'all start charging for this shit, it was over with.
This should not be a surprise because Lupe Fiasco has always gravitated towards predominantly white institutions where novelty Negroes mistake themselves for respected colleagues.
Right. I want to talk about this because she brought up a picture of Johns Hopkins and the Peabody Institute, and she brought up people have been asking, like, how come you're not teaching at HBCUs? How come you're not teaching these courses here? How come you teach these courses there? Nobody offered me to come teach a course at HBCU. People were so concerned about my politics and my relationship to my critiques of Barack Obama that they said, fuck whatever Lupe doing, we don't care. Okay, fine. With that said, my colleagues are Black. SOSA, which I started, Society of Spoken Art, the entire founding membership was all Black MCs. But it was never a DEI project. It was never something where it's supposed to be pushing the Black agenda. It was never none of that shit. Because I feel that as long as you create something great and that it sustains, that we need that.
That's a little surprising to hear. And I mean, you know, it would be for the HBCUs to respond to, because I mean, you know, it's funny whenever a statement like that is made, I feel like you might see in the comments a HBCU representative say, "Hey, we emailed you and you didn't even hit us back." I feel like that always can kind of exist. Once again, thank you for all the super chats. I want to make sure I stay in the zone of this, and I'm gonna acknowledge it at the end of this because I definitely want to have an open conversation with you. I'm just getting my thoughts off in the moment, but that's interesting because I think that's been one of the critiques is. Of Lupe, when you see him doing his professor work, you're like, is that a student full of white kids or just predominantly Caucasian kids? So you're teaching this urban art into a room that is predominantly white, and you don't understand why some people may look at that and say, like, damn, why wouldn't you want to teach that to your people? Why wouldn't you want to teach that maybe, you know, in the HBCU that's closer to home? But at least, to me, I look at this and I say he does show self-awareness in that he's like, I know it's my politics. I know it's me. I know that I'm partly to blame for that, but I do think it's slightly surprising that those invitations haven't gone out. That's odd.
I don't flinch at when people say, oh, you should have, how come you can do it here? I did it over there. I've spoken at many classes and been in many spaces and many places and talked to Black folks and did this and did that. The same way I talk to Chinese folks and Japanese folks and whoever folks. I'm talking to whoever gonna get this shit to last for 1,000 years. If you ain't on that type of time, I ain't on that type of time. Somebody else can do it. There's tons. I ain't the first one. This is just my particular space and my particular journey. Black
culture and creativity being extracted and repackaged by predominantly white institution.
What you mean, like Def Jam Records? What you mean, like Atlantic Records?
Damn.
What you mean, like Interscope Records? What you mean, like Universal Music Group? What are you talking about? Where's all of that heat for them?
And they deserve that heat. You know why I go so hard on these labels? Why I go so hard on UMG? Why I go so hard on all these different places? Because these are niggas selling us out. As much as I think some of these infrastructures like the UMGs will sue the Sunos and the UDOs, they not suing them because of money they losing out on. Because of the money that UDO made, they suing them so that they have to do business with them. Them niggas is gangsters. They the same ones that was pocket checking Spotify. Give me 70 cents every dollar, huh? I need that. You want to talk about the biggest YNs in the world? That's UMG. So when I look at all of the issues that people are saying with AI, it just seems like it's a sexier thing to be angry about when the reality of it is Def Jam and all these different labels, I shouldn't even zero in, but these labels that are under the UMG umbrella have been doing this shit for years. For years. Continue though.
For the institutions that's been around for 100 years, who in your face was telling niggas, I'm not paying you what you deserve for that. I'm gonna give you some money for some shoes and you go buy some $1,000 shoes, but I'm not finna give you no publishing check for that song you just wrote. Like, y'all better stop. Lupe did that. Lupe fans did that.
See, this is the part that made people pissed off, Lupe. Talk your shit, Lupe, but this is the part that people be getting mad at.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna
Talking in third person, talking again like that, man. He keeps saying your name, but he's not lying. He's not. Be mad at the delivery. He's not lying, man. Some of these systems that are set up are bullshit.
Stop. Lupe did that. Lupe fans did that. Lupe fans were the one protesting in front of Atlantic Records, calling niggas to task about the way they were treating and packaging. Anonymous did that for Lupe, for Atlantic Records.
Crazy.
For me, for Lupe. So you can't put me in the same slot of like, oh man, you not standing up against these systems or these institutions that are packaging and taking and corporatizing. Like, we've been fighting since we got in the fucking building.
Lupe's statement does nothing to acknowledge this power dynamic or the risks it poses.
If anything, it detaches you from Spotify. Guess where this music won't be? On fucking Spotify.
somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Be mad at me today, but fuck all that. You know I'm about to be pro anything that's anti-Daniel Ick. That was not me insinuating violence. He just got a bald head. Every time I see a bald head, don't just make sure. Come on. Lupe is asking, need I repeat, he's asking people through these two things that he launched. He has a USB card that is asking his fans to be detached from streaming and have an experience that you cannot stream. You know who was the first person that I heard say that phrase? Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle said the way that he combated streaming when it first started to make its run with iTunes and everything, he said, I got to create experiences that people can't stream. So what did he do? He started creating a $100 album. And if you got the actual physical copy, there was either a QR code or the actual CD was the way that you were going to be able to get into some of these shows, mailbox money and all these different things. This is how you were able to even get an opportunity to be in a contest for you to possibly be in the studio when he's recording Victory Lap. Experiences you can't stream. I look at the USB card and I say that's an experience that you cannot stream. Matter of fact, you can only get it loaded back up when you take your lazy music listening ass out the house and go to a show. And they charge it up at the show. If you know what I'm saying? They charge it up at a pop-out event or pop-up event. Then he's creating this AI radio that is not for mass consumption. If this was to sell something, this is a terrible way to sell something because you make it available to everybody and extremely accessible. No, he has this to where I compare this to the way he's describing this loop is this endless loop, this AI radio that's going to take the machine training that he's doing off of his own music, his own catalog, and create this endless playlist where songs only play once, and AI just continues to use music from Suno and all these different places in collaboration and gives music on an endless. He's making people have to drive their fucking car to whatever these locations are, obscure, desolate locations in the desert like Mojave Desert. Drive out there with your I only stream at home ass, with your after the pandemic ass, I don't leave the house that much ass, just so you can hear this experience. Experiences you can't stream. Now, the fact that it's the fact that it's attached to AI, I get why people are irritated, but I'm looking at the other side of this and I'm like, you're getting people to buy physicals and you're getting people to sit in their car and listen to the radio and drive from home. That's kind of what the DIY mantra is all about, is making sure that we create these experiences that cannot be streamed. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle.
These streaming platforms, which have a nigga told me to my face what it was going to do. It's going to devalue music. Period. To my face. Okay, cool. I don't want to be a part of that. It's going to take me 10 years to figure out a way to get out that system. And look, here, guys, here's how you can do it. If you love it. Now, if you're trying to make money on it, you fucked up. But if you love it and you just want to create for the sense of creating, here's an avenue where you can do that, and you don't have to worry about fucking Spotify paying you nothing. Literally nothing for your shit. Now, I'm in an advanced position because I'm grandfathered in and I do what the fuck I do. And this ain't no shots. And I'm going to still be on Spotify.
So we'll get my streaming money, yeah.
But at the same time, too, here's an opportunity for me to venture out into something else.
It validates him as a rapper.
It does validate me as a rapper. It does validate me as a rapper because I expand what it means to be a rapper in 2025. That's my whole goal. Y'all belittle us. Y'all look down on us. Y'all reduce us to record sales and lists from niggas who don't even rap.
Be mad at the messenger. Don't be mad at the message.
You summarize the entirety of our influence by how many Instagram followers we got and how many likes we got on some video. And I say, no, rappers are capable of leading institutions, leading departments at institutions.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I'm pro-artist. I'm an advocate for artists, especially independent artists. We need people at the table. We need folks that, first of all, have the knowledge and the information in order to sit at the table and give some actual feedback that's beneficial. But we need us at the table. And when I'm seeing here, it sounds like he may not have all the answers, but he's trying something. And there's way too many people who are like doom and gloom and like don't do shit at all. And all they do is criticize anybody who's trying something. Because I look at this and I say, you know what? Because we're towards the end of this. It's going to be a long stream. I'm going to keep the whole stream up here. I don't give a shit. Thank you so much for choosing to be here. Thank you for everybody who's super chatting. Make sure you hit that like button, even if you don't like what I have to say today, just because you want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, you tapped in on what the content is. You know, I'm looking at this and I'm like, he's not going to get every part of this right. But somebody has to be the one that stands out there and does it. He's not the only one. There's many of people who are doing some amazing things. We highlight them on this channel, especially independently. But we're in a time period right now where he could easily be in a situation where he says, okay, after I get the masters back from Atlantic, I don't know if he owns his masters, whatever. He could take his catalog right now and do what every other artist that you see that we're championing, every other artist that we see out here do. Sell your catalog for $100 million. You set for life and you got to be worried about none of this shit. I think what's interesting about this is that when he said that he is thinking 1,000 years ahead, I'm thinking of this and I'm saying, what am I doing that is thinking beyond this moment that is very crucial in culture, this moment that is very crucial in gatekeeping, this moment that is very crucial in artists and DIYers and being an advocate for independent artists? What am I doing that's going to last even after AI does what it's inevitably going to do? What am I going to do that is going to last 1,000 years from now? If all I got to say is YouTube videos and songs, I'm not doing enough. So when I look at this, I say, these are the steps that not just him, because I always say it's not a movement it's not a movement if one person does it. It's only a movement if everybody is moving. And when you start to see other people align themselves, the Russells of the world, the Russes of the world, all of these folks that are very strongly opinionated, when you see folks doing these things, understand that I understand. I don't have to agree with them on every point in order for me to see this is necessary. Because what else you gonna do? What's the alternative? Let them pop. What do you think is going? This shit frustrates the hell out of me. What do you think is happening after Nicki Minaj and Iggy Azalea and all these folks have sold off their catalogs? What do you think the investors are doing? What do you think they're doing with these sold catalogs? You think they just gonna try to get them in commercials for the next 20, 30 years, 50 years? No, they're using that for machine training. So whether we like it or not, this is how we do it. It's going to be used to train AI, especially if these catalogs are getting sold. To me, this seems like a way to not only extend one's legacy as an independent artist, but also to preserve the legacy that you have for 1,000 years plus. I respect it.
Leading the conversation about world and global issues. Rappers have a special technique if they choose to utilize it, and if they choose and are able to access that part of their craft to be some of the greatest leaders in the world, leaders of the world. And you saying that that's just some rap shit. No, I mean it, right? Cat's out of the bag. Language and the mastery of language is one of the greatest things that you can have. You can't point to me another craft that sits in the position purely based off language that rap does. The only other piece that I could say it because I'm there, and that's why I'm there, is MIT, because computation is a language.
Once the technology.
Now I cut that part. This is the part where I can't defend that shit. Now Lupe starts to get visibly frustrated. That's one of the first times he called her out. He called her out a name. He called her a B, and I couldn't tell if it was. I shouldn't say that. I couldn't tell if it was him saying that about her or just, when somebody is frustrated, they say, it's about language, bitch. But you got to be very, very careful how you maneuver these things in frustration. I don't agree with that. That was the one thing. I cut that part in here. I want to make sure you know that I cut that part because I know somebody going to be like, here's the reason why Curtis cut that. No, that's what I cut because I thought he was dead ass wrong for that. No matter how frustrated one may get as a man, there's a way that you got to handle your business, especially when you're talking about women in this field, this male-dominated field of hip-hop media. I think it's very important that we were able to handle these things with respect. So that's something I do draw issue to.
Technology is built, it will inevitably be used by others, often in ways that exploit. By working with MIT to create AI that mimics his rapping abilities, Lupe is effectively handing over the blueprints for replacing human artists with machines, particularly Black human artists.
Already happened. Niggas have already trained models on Kanye. They've already trained complete models on Drake and Dr. It's already happened.
Done.
It's already done. They already did that. That's gone. The writing styles of Maya Angelou, gone. Dr. Sebi recipes for gone.
I did one that said, make me a AI version of a Ernie Barnes painting, and it pissed me off. I was like, why did I type that? And second of all, why is it so close?
You want to inspire all that shit gone. You trying to charge to get into the pyramids at this point. That shit over with.
Seems oblivious to or uninterested in the fact that corporations and tech developers will take this knowledge and use it to flood the market with AI-generated rap, devaluing real artistry in the process.
You already let that happen with Spotify.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
You already let that happen with YouTube. You've already allowed that to occur. And they didn't need a speck of motherfucking machine learning in the way, or AI in the way you're talking about, to kind of amalgamate. They didn't need none of that shit. They didn't need Transformer to do that. Once you allowed niggas to charge point 0.00 no cents for an Al Green song, and you sat there in your car and was vibing, it was over with. I remember I went up to Al.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I feel like as we get deeper into this, the group that may understand where I'm coming from is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, not because I'm some advanced creature of knowledge or any of that shit, but because I know that when it comes to artists, right, who do this as a living, I know in my day-to-day interactions with people who've never made music, they don't look at this as a real job. I know what it feels like to talk to somebody and they ask, what do you do for a living? And the moment that you say that I rap, they immediately start smirking as if it's the funniest thing in the world. They immediately assume that you're just broke. They immediately assume that you don't have the brain or the mind of an entrepreneur. They immediately assume that you're one of the people they saw in their TLC movie, NWA movie, that's at the mercy of a powerful white CEO, and he tells you everything to do, and they're using all making all these assumptions. I know what it feels like to be that artist. I know what it feels like. And I know what it felt like when I started to see consumers go from buying our CDs from us hand to hand and say, why would I buy music from you for $10 when I can get a subscription for $10 and get all the music I want? Good for you. Good for me as a music listener too, because I enjoyed that as a consumer. But as an artist, where was the protection then? When you had working musicians, you still got working musicians right now fighting against all of these dumbass things that Spotify is doing that is not even AI related, who are going to be out of a job as a working musician because they can't control whether or not their music stays on Spotify, because Spotify has some dumbass system that says, oh, we think that 96% of your streams are fake and they're bots. With no evidence, they can remove their entire catalog and take away their 0.003 cents that they were already being underpaid. Where was the protection and gatekeeping then? So I hope those of you that are on this channel because you're just fans or listeners, you understand why I still do the content about what's going on in the music industry and about things like this, because it's like I see my peers out here being affected by it. I'm grateful that I'm able to diversify and make content and be in these different spaces. But damn it, if I was just relying upon music, I can't imagine what this would look like out here. Be mad at the messenger, but at least stay open to the message.
Apple, when they first allowed you, when iTunes kind of first dropped, and I remember talking to the dude, and it was really just supposed to be an artist thing. That's, you know, like, hey, you're an artist, come visit Apple, vibe with us, blah blah blah. And I met the dude who was running the shit, and I was like, man, y'all know y'all done fucked up albums, right? He's like, what you mean? I was like, because you're allowing people to pull the out to listen to things separately, whereas when you had an album, you had to kind of like submit basically to the sequencing of the artist, right? Because the artist was trying to.
For context, I know we kind of jump right back into this. Lupe is telling a story of when at the beginning of iTunes, he was invited as part of a program that iTunes had where they invited artists in and they kind of showed them around and kind of used that as like a PR move to ease their frustrations, ease their hesitation in having their music on streaming. He goes in there and he already tells the guy that's talking to him, you know, this is going to kill the art of the album, this whole streaming thing that you got. And the guy was like, why do you feel like that? He's like, because of the way that you guys set this up, people are able to take music out of its order, and how the artist intended for you to listen to it, we no longer have control over that, because it's not them skipping from song to song on a CD. It's, I'm going to double click this one just because of I'm going to put this in a playlist. Put this in a playlist. Now, iTunes probably wasn't as aggressive as Spotify is, but please, if you have Netflix, there's a Spotify series I suggest that you go watch, because not only did they see the opportunity, playlists became their saving grace, and their abuse of the playlists became their saving, still to this day, allegedly. They're abusing it by putting fake AI artists that are in place of real artists on these playlists, right? So I use this with Spotify to say this. The way that they are playing around with the payouts, the way that they're playing around with artists, they're making it to where these artists have no actual independence within their platforms because they're always dependent upon whatever Spotify says. For some artists, they don't get paid. If they don't make 1,000 streams in a year, they don't get paid anything for what they did. And even if they do get 1,000 streams, they only get paid after the 1,000th stream on that particular piece of art. Then they determine whether or not that's an actual listener by this unique listeners feature that they have. So when I listen to this, I'm like, these are the type of things that we need people in the room so that we have a more balanced conversation. Because if you let these folks do it, all they're concerned about is the bottom line. And why shouldn't they? They're tech companies.
Tell a story, and that was that third. When you gave the audience the ability to select through, and not saying that you couldn't jump over songs with CDs, that's not what I'm talking about. But like once it became like, oh, I just want this song and I just want that song, and it became more single driven, you kind of basically destroyed the fucking album. And I remember the guy, his rebuttal was like, nah. He's like, I see what you're saying, but, and he was a black dude. He's like, nah, but just imagine all those albums that you got and the shit was whack. And I was like, you're right.
Fast forward a few years ago, or rewind a few years ago, Daniel Ek came out and he said, and beyond this point right here, where he said the guy at iTunes was like, no, I don't think albums are going to be dead. I think it's going to be a different situation because not all albums are dope, even when you're buying them physically. That was the argument they made. Spotify said, fuck all that. We don't want albums from artists. Daniel Ek went on record to say that artists that release albums every 2 to 3 years are going to struggle on our platform. Now, why would he say something like that? He said that because he wanted the emphasis from artists to be on singles, because the more that you serve up product on their platform, the more that you drive traffic to their platform, the more that they retain their subscribers, the more they retain their subscribers, the more ads that they can put on. Are you tired of the ads? The more ads they can put in front of the actual listeners. It is their bottom line. And they're not getting paid 0.003 for the ads that are on there. So this is part of the issue. Daniel Ek said it straight up. Look, just give me singles. So then what you saw was a bunch of rappers who just threw all kind of bullshit, half-ass, half-baked songs because they wanted to beat the game of being paid fractions of a cent by quantity over quality. You wonder why shit sounds so bad? If we have streaming subscriptions and we don't support these artists directly, we're part of the problem, whether we want to admit that or not. Can't blame AI for that. They're taking advantage of what they view as a void.
Because I did. There was albums that I went up to Sam Goody, bought that shit, and was on the bus home. It was like, this shit is garbage, right? But I'm stuck, right? So it kind of freed it up. So some pros and some cons. It was like, okay, cool. There's pros and there's cons. But that doesn't mean that the effect wasn't true, right? That the consequences. And then you had people who was like, fuck that, I'm still making rap albums. And I feel like in the past 10 years, we've got some amazing bodies of work. But there was definitely more people focused on singles than they are albums. And the craft of crafting an amazing album is left to a few people. I've done the things that I've done in my space. I've accomplished the things that I've accomplished in my craft. My fans are super happy. They're super satisfied. They still to this day have more free music from me than they have music that they've paid for. That is an absolute fact. I still create great work in my space. And this isn't to pat myself on the back. It's just that, hey, I give you great raps and great verses. I might not give you the best songs. I might not give you the dopest club hits and shit like that, but I don't care about that shit anymore. I just care about rapping and teaching. That's it. Right? My students are satisfied. They learn things. They're going to do great things. They're going to build great things. Fantastic. I don't really give a fuck if you're not one of my students or you're not one of my fans. If you're not any of that, I'm not interested in trying to change you over or turn you over into my world for whatever. There's nothing else that I can buy from this rap music money. Like, I'm not worried about that shit. I'm not doing anything to necessarily preserve my legacy, but at the same time too, I know that I'm pushing forward into spaces that most people can't do. And it is my responsibility to take advantage of these places and these spaces that I happen to be in and push rap forward, kicking and screaming, not hip hop, just to be clear, She keeps saying hip hop. I don't teach hip hop. I don't represent hip hop. I'm a part of hip hop culture in my own personal way. The same way that you can be a Christian, but that don't mean just because you're Christian, you can teach and you should be the full representative of Christianity, right? Same thing. You could be Muslim, but that don't mean
I know you ain't gonna like that one.
you need to be the imam, right? I'm not taking that podium. I don't want that podium. I don't want to be looked at like that. I was never looked at like that. I'm a really good rapper who just has some great opportunities. And in those opportunities and spaces, I choose to preference and prefer rap as the thing that I choose to study and research versus anything else.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a cut down version of that 2 to 3 hour conversation. Look, I definitely missed some points that may have been of interest to you, but I am doing the best that I know how to bring this all, because I was thinking about it. I was like, how do I do this story? Do I listen to ABSA's video, which I still think, aside from the things that I may even disagree with that video, she's amazing at what she does. Her voice is picking up a lot of momentum and a lot of people are listening. And I'm grateful for a video like that, because a video like that doesn't happen without a video like that. A live stream like this doesn't happen if ABSA doesn't bring these things alight. So I'm grateful for both of them existing. I know that they may not feel about each other like that, but that's why I was encouraged of wanting to hear a conversation between the two of them. But I know that one can't exist without the other. He said a bunch of crazy stuff in that video or that live stream that would have, I just know y'all. I know y'all so well. Based upon what we had already, that would have derailed this conversation a million different directions, because he said some wild shit in there. With that said, though, I hope that you're understanding, like, first of all, let me just say this about myself. I don't want to be surrounded by no yes men. I want to be surrounded by those that I have opposing views of, because I want to learn from people. I will not allow the space on this channel for people who oppose just to oppose but can't articulate their opposition. I'm not going to respond to none of that. I want to be around people who have the ability to articulate their points. That's why I love, shout out, I see her in here right now. That's why I loved having Moni in here. That's why I loved talking to Friday Ricky Dredd on the United Culture. Like, I want to see where I might have been, where I may have, I don't know it all. I don't. Even about AI, I don't know a fraction of what I should. But what I'm grateful for is that there's people in the room. And I look at this point of view, and this is what I'm going to kind of end you off with. 1,000 years from now, and it's funny because I said this the other day, I said, damn, 1,000 years from now, if we just take this on one level, imagine all the rappers that stopped rapping at 40, which I'm turning this year. Imagine all the rappers that stopped rapping at 40 because they were too embarrassed about how they would look in front of you. I'm not blaming you, but I'm just saying society is still catching up with that idea. If you haven't already been famous, if you're not already LL Cool J, if you're not already Common or somebody that has already had your cultural cachet, as Justin says, if you're not somebody that is already established, they look at you crazy for trying to do this. And I think about it. Imagine 1,000 years from now, they have access to our culture, our music, and all they hear from is YNs that ain't found their way. All they hear are the ones who weren't afraid to release their art. All they hear are AI versions of the shit that you and I don't even listen to. I would hope that if somebody asked me 1,000 years from now, what was lyricism like back then? There would be examples in whatever shape or form possible that could be. But if you're saying, I don't want it to be AI, I want it to be directly from the source, start buying physical media and stop playing. You get a subscription to Netflix. You don't own any movies on Netflix. You get a subscription to Spotify. You don't own any music on Spotify. So if you want to preserve these things, the things that they go and they start digging out and they start getting fossils and all these things from generations before, buy physical, support physically. And what happens is that AI also is not going to be able, in my opinion, based upon what I view this as, they're not going to be able to emulate experiences that you can feel. At least not in this era of our situation. Create experiences, artists, that they cannot stream. And I feel that's what Lupe is doing right now. That is our responsibility. Now, AI is clunky. AI is messy. AI does a lot of shit. Like, I don't know if you ever seen this shit right here. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. This shit had me hot real quick. Hold on, let me pull this up. Y'all ever seen Canva? Y'all ever seen the Canva rap? You ever seen the Canva rap? I just know they asses sat there and made this shit. I just know they sat there and made this shit on Chat GPT. I just know they did. This is the era of AI that they unraveling right now. It's this shit like this. This is them rapping about the AI that Canva's going to start. Listen to this bullshit.
I love this company. It's amazing.
No. Can you hear that?
Hold on, is that them? Is it here? Oh, here it goes.
Create. We've talked about a lot. Can we just take a minute to recap? Let's do it. You can redesign your work. Canva got that glow up. Yeah. We redesign everything from the flow up. Customize your workspace and make it your own. Ooh, now you making magic when you up in the zone.
What's up, sir?
These are niggas you worried about taking kosher? Huh?
Yes, I'm talking to all of you up there.
Did you invite?
You guys know what's happening?
The hell is going on here?
But what about me?
Who is you?
A CIO from an enterprise, see, and I have some doubts.
Security.
That's right, and I'd like to have some certainty. Nice that you got some pretty shiny things, but can you meet the demands of a global machine? We got pretty high stakes, no room to air. We need more than a cute little post to share.
Clown it. It's just cringe. But you know the one thing that they're utilizing? Because they got a voice at the table? AI. You know what happens in 1,000 years? When they trying to figure out, hey, what happened to the wisdom in hip hop after 40? Why everybody go to a podcast? Why nobody made music? You know what they got? AI and their utilization. How pissed off would you be rolling over in your ancestral grave to look here 1,000, 2,000 years from now with your great grandchildren sitting here like this? It's that real hip hop shit I was talking about.
So you think Canva can't go deep, but we can see that your team's actually just...
He's pretty much on the same level as Kendrick. Pretty much. Y'all better stop playing. DIYers, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think about that.
DIY.
Okay, all right. First and foremost, I got this from Justin. Shout out to my guy Justin. I got to make sure that I'm following suit. I got to make sure I acknowledge all of the super chats first and foremost because y'all ain't got to give me I'm not here begging for no money. You feel me? But I do appreciate it. My son for sure appreciate it. You feel me? Got to start building on that Disneyland budget. You feel me? Like, hey, I'm about to go crazy with this content. I'm finna go crazy with this. Go crazy, Curtis. I'm finna go crazy with this content. But let me pull up this chat because for whatever reason, I want to open up for questions, all that stuff. We here to hang out. I'm gonna keep this live stream up. How much time did we actually go? We went and now, okay, yeah. I got about. Would you just hurry up? YouTube, why YouTube acting up? It always do this when I start talking like this. When I start talking like this, it start acting like, now, how you doing like that? Give me just a second, my friends. Hold on. Let me get into the live. And boom, there we go. Okay. Let's pop this chat out and let me make sure that I get this chat overlay. I'm not ducking no kind of questions. I don't feel like I'm not in no position to cape for nobody. There ain't no bias. Well, there is bias. There always exists bias. I'm not in no position to cape for nobody, especially nobody that had me as tired as I did. Do you understand that day that Lupe came? This ain't his fault, but did you understand Lupe came that day and talked to me with that interview and my AC broke in this room? Do you remember that? The AC was broke. So not only was I frustrated about the way that he was answering the questions, but fam, it was 115 degrees in here. I walked out of this room about to pass out. My wife was like, "Are you good?" I was like, "I'll never kick push again." That's not what I said, but I was tired. Him tired. I couldn't even sleep in my bed after that because it was so hot upstairs. But I made that happen. So like, I still regret that I alerted you that he was in the chat. Don't regret it. You texted me. Courtney said, Courtney, look, shout out to Courtney. Hold on, let me make sure I highlight this. Shout out to Courtney. Courtney, one of my moderators, one of my day ones in here. She sent me a text message and she said, he here. All caps. She said, he here. I'm like, what you mean? Like at the front door? He here. I said, what you mean he here? I think she about to send me a screenshot. And it was like Lupe saying like, what are we doing here? Go back to that video. I ain't gonna lie to you. Look. Doing live streams like this is such high energy because I'm going off of flow state. That's why I don't really check the comments all the time. I'm going off of flow. I'm going off sometimes just in a really passionate direction with things. I had my mind made up I was going to do a reaction video and 2 other stories. And then he pops into here and I say, my eyes started twitching. I was like, wait. We're not prepared for an interview, are we? Shit, you better do it. And I did it. Most frustrating 2-3 hours. Matter of fact, I haven't done many interviews since then. I need some time. I'm very patient. I let him get his points across, but I stood on my points as well. But it happened. Grateful that it happened. That being said, Courtney sent me that text and said, he here. I said, who? Lupe here. Oh. Then I got to gather myself and shit. How you doing, Lupe? My name is Curtis King. I got to gather myself and shit. Like, that was not the first conversation I ever had I wanted to have with Lupe. I would have much rather talked to him about the Samurai album. An amazing album. Curtis is scared. I wasn't scared. I was just like, imagine, look, let me just give you some perspective. Who said that? Bung Jello. Imagine I went into your room right now. I don't know what you doing. You playing Xbox? You watching me on Xbox? I went into your room right now and I was like, press pause. Hey, Lupe want to talk to you right now about some shit that you said. Okay, let me get dressed. Don't get dressed. Do it right now. I need to think because it's an intelligent human being. I'm sorry. No. Right now. Tell me how ready you would be. And tell me how good of TV that would be. Then you get to talking to him and you're like, hey, he's trying to little bro me. Anyways, Instant Messenger Salma, thank you for the super chat. I love his raps, but he has to curb the elitism. Does he? Because what's the result? What's the result? I'm not saying that you're not right for what you're saying. I'm saying, then what? Then he becomes you? He's him. He's him. The reason this is even part of a conversation, the reason why this is getting so much controversy is because he's him. If he didn't have that kind of a conversation with me that frustrated me, I would have operated a different way after that. I allow people to have the space to be them because I'm given the same grace. I'm not saying that you got to be that way. I'm just saying that's how I operate. Just be you. Just don't lie to me because I don't want to see this personality 3 years from now if I start working with you and then you start telling me all the shit you could have just told me in the first meeting. At least he ain't lying shit. Cam, shout out to Cam. Thank you for the super chat. John Giz said, critique your music as how do you show your love for it every Monday. Every Monday I sit here with independent artists. Don't ask me what I do for it. Don't ask me what I do for fellow artists. I don't just make videos. We sit here for 8 hours, damn near every stream, 6 to 8 hours reviewing music every single week for independent artists. Walk the walk every single time. Zero Fox says, Endless Loop sounds like a Trojan horse. Well, here's the thing about it. Who's the Trojan horse? Who's the Trojan horse? Who's the one that created the Trojan horse, if we're going to use that analogy? Because if the enemy is sitting inside the Trojan horse and that's AI, the question becomes who's ushering it in and presenting it as something else that it's not. Lupe just said it. He's not like he didn't say in partnership with Suno like Timbaland did. In partnership with Suno, we're gonna be do. If you would have saw that, if I would have saw that, I'd have read that shit immediately. Like, here we go. Now they're using you to be the mascot for their bullshit. Because I still don't agree with what Suno did in that they took all these master recordings and presented a product before they went through the proper channels to get the approval. They just started running through your grandfather and everybody, mama and daddy music catalogs and said, hey, we got this product that's ready for the public. No, you don't. That's why you're getting sued. And then admitted to it. So if that would have been Lupe's approach, I would have had a different conversation. But are we so removed? Are we so angry at some of the viewpoints that Lupe has that we won't give him the decency and the respect or the opportunity to think that maybe this very opinionated dude from Chicago, the one that is responsible for, you know, raps like the murals and responsible for all of these intricate flows and things that he does, maybe that person is actually smart? Or is it because you have a bias versus rappers and you think that rappers are stupid inherently, are not capable of doing certain things? You know, sometimes we take on the opinions of those we think that are oppressors and we allow that to be our own. So what I'm saying is Lupe is actually there. It's the reason he's in there as a professor. I'm not saying I got to agree with the way that he delivers his information, but shit, word salad or not, he got a whole lot more leaves than I do with that conversation. He got a whole lot more croutons in that conversation than I do. But I'm glad that he's there. The same way when I got invited by ASCAP to go talk about AI, I'm glad I was in the room because I could see it in every one of these creators' eyes. They were skeptical and they didn't understand, dog. As much as there's things to be fearful of AI, and there are things that I am fearful of AI, there's also some other parts of this that I'm like, damn it, bro. If I had this in my 30s, I would have had a much different music career as an independent artist. Much different. Because if I had just Chat GPT and Canva, I would have saved significantly more money and time that I could never get back that I could have spent with family. Could have spent collaborating, could have spent doing more music. But that's because I view the relationship with AI not as a replacement. I look at it as an assistant to what I'm already doing. Had I had just 2 of those things, dog, my whole situation is different. I don't have these bags under my eyes, right? I'm not regretful for them. It gave me the character, but damn it, my question becomes, who then is the Trojan? Who is the enemy? And who? He is telling you he's running this, and he has a team of students that are coding it. I have yet to see him say he has to answer to a Suno. If that does come up, okay, we have a different conversation. So he wants to Pokemon Go rap. I get the notion. I think some people, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I was talking to Justin about this, and he made a great point. He's like, and I don't want to kill it if he wants to do this in a future video, but he made a point that I love, and I've been thinking about it since he said it. The older he gets, or the more he listens to Kanye, the less he questions Kanye. Because even though he says some really wild shit, he's also ahead of his time a lot of the times. And the things that come to fruition that he predicted don't get nearly the amount of news as the controversies get. People love to cover the scene of the crash. People don't always cover the recovery of the person that was in the crash. Les Brown talks about someone who failed the bar an egregious amount of times. Nobody cared when they actually became a lawyer. That's just human nature. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, if that's how you have to perceive it as Pokemon Go, the thing is, it's not Pokemon Go because you need your FM radio and not your phone. It's not an app. It's not an app. That's not an app. It's not an app. It's not an app. He said you got to drive your funk ass in the car and turn on FM radio and be 30 feet away from whatever this point is at just to listen to the music, but you cannot copy it. Maybe you can use your phone and record over. I don't know, but that's what it was presented. Whether that's a smart idea or not, he'll have more information to give you. He'll have more of an idea how smart or dumb of an idea that is than any of us if we're not doing anything. So I'm glad somebody's doing some shit. What exactly is the point of this thing? Lupe walks himself into this stuff. He doesn't need any negative Kendrick commentary to think this isn't good. What exactly is the point of this thing? It seemed like to me, this was more of a conversation that he was having with his fans and not us. Like, I shouldn't say that. I'm a fan of what he does creatively. I haven't always been a fan of some of the things that I see in these interviews, and all, but it's not for me. Diehards don't care about that. I could be mad at 3 Stacks. 3 Stacks is my favorite rapper of all time. I just saw him in his Narwhal interview. I didn't like some of the energy that was in there because it discourages me as somebody that is still looking forward to seeing him do what I think he's one of the greatest at doing. I don't want to put him in a box. He loves playing his flute. That's what makes him happy. Do that. But that doesn't take away from the genius that I have already connected to in his music. So I think the point of this is to have ideas that last longer than 1,000 years. ABSA's here. ABSA, shout out to you. I already talked about this, and you'll see in the video. I made sure that the respect and the props were given because it's not easy to put your opinions out here, especially in this era of media and such. It's not easy to put those out there. And there's some stuff I walk back sometimes because I'll be like, yeah, I don't know what that's going to be. I didn't agree with him calling you out your name multiple times. I think that's clownish. I think that being angry doesn't justify saying whatever you want to say. And you got to be able to, especially somebody in that position where, you know, you work for an infrastructure like that. You got to be able to just be like, all right, this shit has got me so heated. I might say something I'm going to regret. I didn't like that. That's why I cut it out the video. Zone Fanfic said, is he addressing it or course correcting? I think he's addressing it. Nothing he said in this conversation strays from what you see in that ChatGPT generated post. That's also problematic. It's a ChatGPT generated post. Whether or not he gonna say that, I'm gonna say it. Hold on. Let me hold on. I'm gonna tell you what right now. I'm gonna tell you, hold on, let me get this back to where it was. Look. I'm gonna just tell you this. This is not a rule of thumb for everything. You can't use this as a general rule for everything content wise, because some people just write like this. The moment I start seeing that symbol, you see what I highlighted? The moment you see this symbol, ChatGPT-ana, okay? The moment I start seeing emojis sitting in front of the different subtitles, ChatGPT-ana. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you can feed it the information you wanted to articulate, I've done that, how I wanted to rewrite it. That right there, it's an embracing of technology, but it's also a detachment from being a human being because people can listen to that and know when they're being read. Emojis and bullet points, just not the bullet points. It's this long ass, dumb ass line that ChatGPT does. Cause I'm like, my supporters will see immediately. Look at this ChatGPT. Shut up, Curtis. So when I saw that, I was like, that causes issues. That's detached from everything. Have a good night, ABSA. So this is Zone Zific. He's following up. He says, fanfic. Zone Fanfic says, I, for one, as a day one Lupe fan, would love a Lupe podcast. He stayed true, and I love that about him. However subjective his opinion may be, not discounting his awareness. I think he would do, just from a fan point of view, creative point of view, I think that he would do so much better in a podcast format with a host that he trusts and that allows him to take, it's almost like talking to Neil deGrasse. You ever seen a Neil deGrasse interview that he had with Joe Rogan and how frustrating Joe Rogan was with him? Because he don't answer questions like, hey, man, so like, what is you? He'd be like, so the thing about it is, you got to do things about the music. No, that's not it, Joe. That's not it. It's frustrating. You give that person their own format and let them get their ideas without being interrupted because they're going to get more frustrated and therefore make you more frustrated as a host. So I think it'd be a better environment in a place that he feels like his ideas are not being flipped, where he feels like his ideas are being respected and that people are not trying to belittle him. I think he talks his shit because some people still try to put him in the category of just being a rapper. I think he talks his shit because some people still put him in a category of just being a rapper. And I'm not saying just be a rapper in the sense of like that's not a major thing, but that's the only thing that they'll make him out to be. I know what it is. Lupe is not working on image recognition or health data, though. He's working on displacement tech, not collaborative systems. Okay, interesting. I know a thing about AI. This is where I'll say, thank you for the super chat, by the way. I'll say Lupe is wrong here. This is the part where you're talking about it replacing AI or NLP isn't replicating a Kendrick or a Lupe. Definitely a Drake, though. Damn, I go a whole video without mentioning Drake. Come on, man. You're not helping that narrative. You're not helping that narrative that I'm on TDE payroll. You see they started that one? I'm on TDE payroll. Okay. If only you knew how stupid of a statement that was. If only you knew, as a producer that has worked with TDE, I hope you know how stupid of a statement that is. Just leave that alone. Oh my goodness, y'all funny. I don't think that was the point. I think that it's there are people right now that are not being strategic about what is your plan when AI becomes more of a mainstream tool. What is your plan when everyday consumers start to interact with AI music? What are you going to do to combat in that space? If there's money in that space and you make music and you have prompts that are different from everybody else, the power's in the prompt. What are you going to do? SEG said, if we don't push back now, those in charge will roll right over us. I understand your point, but we need a plan and movement to at least sound the alarm. We don't need a plan. You need a plan. I need a plan. And then we need to come together with fresh ideas. But it don't matter how much we plan if we don't have our asses at the table. We got to do more than plan. I get the sentiment. We got to do more than plan. We got to get our own plan, which is why you see me actively always looking for different things that are pushing everything forward in terms of independent and ways that we can do physical copies in different ways. Like it has to be more than just we come together and what? What we going to do? We going to build an app? We so behind if we build an app. I get the sentiment. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just saying, like, what is the pushback? What does it look like? We got to figure out something for ourselves first. And what is our why? Because our whys might not even be aligned, to be honest. SEG, they no longer rely on black community to produce hip hop music. By freely giving away our skills, we're making it easier for them to exclude us entirely. That's not what he did. And you know that if that's what he did, I would love to sit in here and talk that shit. That's not what he did. That giving away the technology, that the thing you're talking about freely giving away his skills, he's giving it away to himself. And he's in charge of the coders that are making it come to life. These are ideas these are ideas that he's bringing from his head into the team. And the team is now answering the things that he's doing. I look at the Lupe, what is it called? The Endless Loop radio as a time capsule. You know those time capsules that are popping up every once in a while where people from the 60s might have put like, their heirlooms and their toys and, whatever was popular in 1964, they wait till 2024 and then people open up that time capsule and then they're able to say, oh, snap, and it's all kind of preserved, even though it was in the dirt or whatever. Okay, cool. To me, it feels like that's a version of that. To me, this seems like this is above whatever issues he has with the labels. This is to ensure that he has a voice in a time period where obviously he will not be alive. We won't be alive for. My thing is this. I'm going to go back to that example of Canva. Do you want the only example of the rap or the hip hop that you love to be an AI version prompted by somebody that is tone deaf and has no idea what this means, who is going to miss every single piece of nuance that matters to us? Or would you rather have people like Lupe and those who are, he's not the only one, who are making the first steps to get involved in it. What do you want? What do you want? Or do you want to complain about how there's no representation in Silicon Valley of us? What do we want? So I see we don't want either. So what do we want? We want to sit by and just let them do the shit they're going to do anyways? That's the part of it that I'm like, if we don't get strategic, we become the product. That's the part I don't understand. Help me understand. If we don't get strategic, we become the product. We become the ones buying courses in 3 years from now, trying to figure out how to catch up to ChatGPT. No. We are way too evolved for that. Because what's going to happen is the job that you have today, that you have the skills for, that you're overly qualified for, now is going to require you to take their 5 to 6 week workshop and course in order to learn how to utilize AI within your job. And if you decide I'm not going to do that because I'm against that, where you going to work? Erica M., we're not mad at you. I disagree with Lupe, and I don't appreciate his intellectual browbeating and fallacies. I know what he's doing, and I know AI. Get him on a live with me. I'll light him up. Erica M. don't play. I got nothing but love. Erica M., I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I am curious. For those of you that came in here hot and you were just against every single thing, was there not one point in this where you said, I could see it from this point of view? You know what I'm saying? Was there any point? Thank you for the super chat too, by the way, Eric. I appreciate you so much. I don't got to agree with, I think to me, that's one of the most dangerous things. And I'm not putting Erica here on this. I think Erica is well within her ability to hold her own and talk her shit and also articulate her points. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that I think one of the unfortunate side effects of cancel culture, one of the unfortunate things that I see sometimes in society is, if I don't agree with you on one stance that I am passionate about, it's up for everything else. You can't do no right. And there's time periods where I hear points of views with people that I fundamentally disagree with on most things. And then I hear them make a good point, and I have to be at least open to the idea. D, I'm not saying ABSA is part of cancel culture. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that is one of the side effects of the pitchforking that happens with content. ABSA didn't get y'all over here talking crazy. ABSA created a piece of content, and the 40, 50 people that tagged me, you did that. You did that. ABSA didn't ask me to react to none of this. She did her job as a content creator in this space who does it fucking well. So well that it emotionally got people into a place where they're like, we got to do something about this. Regardless how you feel about the points, she did her job. She did it well. I can look at that and say, I may not agree with every point in this, but I understand. And I also look at this and say, I'm glad that you're able to articulate that, because maybe I wasn't thinking in that way. And that's the part that I think that there needs more. We need more conversation from people that we don't agree with. That's why I love what Justin does with Culture United, is that he'll bring on people purposely who have another point of view, because at the end of the day, it's Culture United, so that we can get perspectives we wouldn't otherwise get when we're sitting in an echo chamber full of people that agree with us. We need more opposing conversations. We need that. But real conversations, intellectual conversations, we need that. Zone Fanfic says, I think I get it. Thank you for the super chat. I believe Lupe may be trying to say something legally. This may be brilliant. When you prioritize FM, analog radio, you slow down algorithmic data provided to AI databases. I didn't even think, of course I wouldn't think of that shit.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Interesting. I definitely got to do more research on that, but that's interesting. That is interesting. And the person that has the ability to make a verse that can be interpreted 5 different ways, you don't think it's a little bit of intelligence in that head? Take what you perceive as arrogance to the side. Take what you think is narcissism to the side. You don't think it's a little bit of genius in there? You don't think sometimes some people are so damn smart and ahead of their time that they're tormented because they don't have the way to deliver it in a way that is palatable or digestible for most human beings? I'm looking at him, and I'm not saying this to feel bad for him, but he was like, oh God, like, I think that, you know who is like that? Kanye. Because he'll say some shit and I'll be like, I don't know what you mean by that, but you sound happy or you sound angry. Curtis, I love you like a cousin, but the minute Spotify comes up, you lose it. You can't give up, love. You know, it's not giving up. It's not giving up. If anything, it is me saying, it's a reminder to me of why I'm so passionate about this. Because in the same breath that y'all think we co-signing AI, that's crazy. Co-signing AI. Who the hell is AI that we co-sign? Who is anybody co-signing AI? What does that look like? Tell me. What does co-signing AI look like? Come on, man. Let me introduce you to everybody. It's my nigga AI. You feel me? Like, not Allen Iverson. He's artificial. He's intelligent. That's all you got to know. What's up, guys? What does that cosign look like? L. Brown, should music artists unionize or is it too late? I think that unionizing is important for artists that share the same why. And I think that they've been trying to create unions, and there's been artists and even producer unions being created. My issue is this. An artist that is trying to collect the monies necessary to support their lifestyle, that includes mansions, that includes mortgages, that includes other people's mortgages, that includes cars, that includes a certain amount of clout, a certain amount of fame, is not going to have the same priorities as a working artist. And I feel like whatever that overlappage is going to be so watered down by the time we get to the end of that, it's not really pushing the needle for either one. So I think those who are in that position of making that money and they have these needs, y'all need a union. I think that independent artists of different levels need a union. And I think that makes sure that every voice is heard where it needs to be heard. And then also, too, I think that we as a society have to separate, if we don't already, the idea of upcoming artists from independent artists. It's bullshit that you put them in the same category. It's not true. It's even bullshit that you compare a La Russell to a Tech Nine. La Russell is doing amazing, brilliant work in his own right and deserves the light to be just that type of independence. But there's a difference. I've been to Strange Music. I've seen the facilities. That's a different type of business. The headquarters used to be a Montgomery Ward. That's a different level of infrastructure. And I'm not saying that a La Russell can't do that. I'm saying that we should not be comparing them as apples and oranges. So I think unionizing is something that we say because what we want to do is come together. And I think coming together is important. But I think that we should first do that amongst people that make sense, in my opinion. I'm going to get to the rest of these. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the conversation here and all the previous ones. I needed this one. Yeah, I didn't come. I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate y'all having a different point of view on things. I think that's healthy. I think it's good. Thank you for having the ability to articulate these things. Much love to y'all. John Jid99 says, what are your thoughts on the Most Def? We'll talk music a little bit later. I haven't heard the project quite yet with Alchemist. Spotify CEO in chat lurking in a yellow suit, rubbing his hands behind a digital tree. Oh, thank you, Denise. Denise, I'm going to go back to that statement. I get what you're saying, but because the AI movement is in progress, how is Lupe contributing to its beneficial to artists? I don't think he's creating something that's beneficial to artists as much as he said it's his voice being trained for this idea, for what I'm looking at as a music capsule of some kind. I don't know how it exists. I don't know what it looks like. All I know is he said that it's going to require you to drive your car or drive wherever they're at in this random area in the Mojave Desert, it may be, and listen on FM radio is the only way you can access it. It won't be on your phone. This sounds like a treat he's giving in the forest. This sounds like a treat he's giving to his fans. This ain't none about trying to save other rappers. To me, this seemed, you know what's crazy? I asked Lupe, I DM'd him. because he told me last time we went live, he said, you could just hit me up directly. I had 3 questions for Lupe. I said, does Endless Loop serve a similar goal to a time capsule? I said, I noticed that Endless Loop and Rhyme Soup both involve getting people outdoors to experience them both. Is that part of the goal? He hasn't answered, of course, yet. And then third question I have is, how important is it for you to be remembered 1,000 years from now for the work you're doing today with AI? Those are the questions I have that give me a lot more clarity on the things that I don't really have the space or the information to talk accurately on outside of just being a fellow creative in this space. There's a rapper that helped pave the way for this new era that Lupe hates so much. When is Lupe going to call the Canadian out? I don't think that's ever going to happen. And you know what? Here's something I'll take from this. All feelings aside, facts only. The current record business is not designed to make multiple artists rich. Matter of fact, I would even argue that the current record business is going to change its ways so that you never see another Drake again, so that you never see another Kendrick again, so you never see another Jay-Z again. I think they are changing everything so that you can never be in a position that leaves them in such a vulnerable space. So that our generation's kids and their kids and their kids, they are looking out for self. And what happens in that environment is that if you're on the other end of that and you feel like you've been abused by that record business space, there's a difference between the record business and the music business, first of all. The record business space, you will be forgotten about. So what happens is that you get abused. That was the point. The point I was making is you will be forgotten about. I'll say it again. If you are in that space that is all about self and is about preservation of their own business, you as an artist who has been abused by that system will then take on some of those ideologies and start to do that to other artists. That's why I never liked the idea of artists signing to artists. Yes, there have been stories of success, but most of those that you see, it seems, have issues being signed to another active artist. Why? Because they're repeating the same steps of things that were done to them in the record business. It seems like Lupe, just from my analysis, is creating what is best for Lupe and his fans. He told you, hip hop, like I seen y'all try to kick my back in. Not doing this shit for y'all. This seems like this is going to preserve what his fans value for here, now, in the next 1,000 years, because he's embracing the technology. Whether or not you choose to do that, that's up to you. That's up to you. And I have to respect it. I have to respect it. My thing is, don't think that 2 years from now, you're going to see me complaining about Spotify and I haven't done anything differently to fix my own situation. That's asking for accountability, and I know that that's asking for a lot. We don't have enough time for all that. But I think that accountability has to be taken not only on artists' end. This ain't about Lupe. This is bigger than Lupe. Accountability has to be taken on the end of artists and what you're going to do to get your money in, what you're going to do to support your livelihood and your art. And accountability has to go on the end of those who are trying to preserve and protect this culture, who are currently on streaming platforms and only giving your money back to the artists you support through streams, which is a fraction of a penny. Yeah. I definitely didn't anticipate. It's funny. A couple weeks ago, I didn't anticipate. I'm looking at your comments now. I didn't anticipate making a video where I'm like, you know what? You're right, Lupe. I was like, man, I'm not doing no Lupe content. And then I saw this thing play out. And I'm telling y'all kept hitting me up like crazy. If you don't want Lupe stories, stop hitting me up. Because I saw the news. I just glossed over it. I said, okay, good for him. But then that video came out. Y'all was like, you need to cover this, Curtis. I seen people like, I'm gonna unsubscribe from you, Curtis. What you thought was gonna happen? You thought I was just gonna agree with you to keep your subscribers? To keep your subscriber base? No, we are human beings with different opinions, and that's okay. We see eye to eye on a lot of things. Maybe we don't see on some of the things. That's fine. Didn't Lupe have a podcast with Royce da 5'9"? They ended up beefing. That's my point. He can't be I don't think he should be in a space like that. Like I think that's the wrong space to get the kind of Lupe we got today in this interview. I mean, in this live stream, you're not gonna get that in that podcast because he's around somebody that he looks at and he respects their craft, but also it gets competitive. And at some point in time, you get two rappers on the same podcast. I'm telling you right now, you get two rappers on a podcast who look at themselves as masters of this craft. At some point in time, they're going to have a big disagreement. And it's competitive. It's alpha male. Like it's going to happen. And that's what happened. I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. Lupe said some crazy shit about Royce I caught that I was like, yo, why in the hell would you wish that man a situation like that? But I do feel like he would be able. I don't think he needs to do a podcast to convince none of y'all or anything. I think that we're living in a time period where the pitchforks are out. And when it's F somebody, it's F-ing forever. Mrs. Spicer, thank you for saying this. That's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar. Hold on. Disagreements is the birth of a lot of great solutions.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Disagreement is really the birth of a lot of great solutions. If I'm surrounded by a bunch of yes men, if I'm surrounded by an echo chamber of people who always feel the same way I feel about everything, get angry about the same things I get angry about, which is a lot in this society, especially in politics, we're going to be stuck in the same place being angry about the same things. I like what she's saying. I'm not trying to cape for him. I just think that's the reality. I'm not trying to cape for nobody neither. That's a grown man. I don't get no benefits from doing that. I wanted to have a conversation with my folks here on Curtis King TV. Shout out to the DIYers about AI and hip hop.
DIY.
I'm not here to change no opinions. I'm not here to give any propaganda. I just want to make sure that we've at least had the conversations. I had a vision as I was thinking about my YouTube and I was thinking about the kind of content and things that I was covering, my why. I was thinking about my why when I took my break off in December. And I said, man, what do you want to be remembered by? I want to be remembered by making sure that I wasn't afraid to tell my truth in the face of some very unpopular times. I'm not coming here I don't look at y'all as matches. I'm not trying to light y'all up and make y'all angry about shit. No, if anything, I'm just trying to get break. I'm just trying to present a point of view that has made me think and may possibly make someone else think that didn't see it that way. Because y'all for sure are doing that for me. Zanzan says what he's doing is fundamentally anti-black. Okay, Zanzan. I would love to hear why you feel that way. Like I said, I'm not caping for nothing. I'm not caping for nobody. But in this video, he made some points like this that were like, if you take on this point of view, Zanzan, then what do we say to those of us that support music where we're murdering each other by every other bar? What do we call supporting music in which we talking about drill? And I'm not saying that all of it's, I don't want to be that old person that says music all sound the same. What do we call music that romanticizes murdering each other? I'm really 40. What do we call music that romanticizes murdering each other? What do we call what is that? Even if it's in the form of a stream, that's a support or misogyny. Yeah, what do we call? Is that? I mean, my thing is, if we're going to, and I think that's where hip hop is at, is that as we start to make sure we go for what's the culture, we have to identify specifically what that means. Every single one of us has had different cultural experiences full of so much nuance. And the nuance is where you and I may see things alike, right? Like Denzel said, the smell of a hot comb, right? The smell of, it's funny, I was looking at not Fabulosa. It was like one of them damn floor cleaners. And I was like, I almost want to get this, even though I know it got bad chemicals, just because it reminds me of my childhood and Sundays when my mama would cook and my mama would clean and she would be like, get your ass up and clean your, you know what I'm saying? Like it just these things that you can't really give to somebody to understand. So my thing is that's the argument that he made in that conversation. And I look at it and I'm like, so then where does the line draw? If that's anti-black, Carter's gonna mispronounce something. What I mispronounce? Pine saw? It might have been pine saw. It might have been pine saw. Fabuloso. Yeah, for sure. I for sure messed up Telenova. I meant telenovela. I said that shit would I said it 3 times. You know how frustrating it is to do these videos with no edits and then say that shit 3 times in a minute and you look back and you like, fuck. Stupid ass boy. This shit ain't easy. This shit ain't easy. This shit ain't easy. Sometimes you going off the top of your head. Did I say Neil deGrasse? What I say? I messed him up? That's fine. You know what the hell I was talking about. Sometimes you cook, you put too much seasoning, you put too much grease, you put too much, you know what I'm saying? You know, too much dip on your chip. Telenova actually didn't want to say nothing. Nah, telenovela. I looked at that and I was like, damn. You damn right I'm gonna mispronounce a word and I'm gonna be corrected and I'm gonna have to do something else. Too much necklace. You got too much necklace. Too much dip on your chip. Removing black people from an art they created equals anti-black. So shouldn't we be just asking a question, shouldn't we be in the room to make sure that our black voices are included? If we take that on, removing black people from an art, and you're saying, I'm assuming through AI and it duplicating the art that has been done before by talented and amazing black musicians, if they are, in a sense, removing black people from the art, and that is the technology that is going to be a whole nother market in itself, shouldn't we have a voice at the table? Why do we need to? That's a better point, Imani. Imani says, why do we have to be included when we can build our own? That's what Lupe's literally doing.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell.
How is he at the table? He didn't partner. He created and strategized with a team of students at MIT. He leveraged his position at MIT, where he teaches the art of rapping. Through all its nuance and technical skills, he teaches the art of rapping, and he leveraged that position to then launch another project. And that said project is this endless loop that is having them answer to the things he wants to do. They're strategizing together. This is not a company that's financing this. This is not him handing over. Because the truth be told, okay, let's talk about this. Unpopular opinion. If we are concerned about AI taking our black bodies out of the art, why do we keep uploading our music to Spotify? When they themselves brag about the power of their machine learning, why do we release any music on any of these platforms where we have to click a button that says, I allow you to use this for the study of AI art? Why do we as artists put any music up on these platforms? If that's the issue, we're a part of that issue. Artists do it every single day. It's still amplified. No, for sure. I'm not saying put it on. I'm just saying that's not straw man arguments. That's literally doing the same thing that you're saying you're afraid of. How is that a straw man argument? Isn't he doing that with MIT? Well, LaSalle, this would make sense. This will make sense if he was giving it to MIT. And if MIT was financing that situation. They're paying him for a position in which he's a professor and he teaches rap. According to him, I'm just taking off. I don't have all the information from that. He has to provide that. But he's not giving this because MIT says we need you to do something so that we could have this and take it from your black hands. This is an idea that he wants to do because he says he's thinking 1,000 years into the future of how to extend past what is already going to happen, which is this AI takeover. So if it's going to happen anyways, if you cannot, you can cry about it, fight about it, protest about it. If it's going to happen, it's already happening. All we're doing is getting the versions that they were comfortable putting out into the public. He said it, we're late. By the time it reaches the public, they've already tested it. Matter of fact, thank you for reminding me. I need to bring this up too. This shit I thought was really, really interesting. I know this is a longer stream. Oh, well, thank you so much for choosing to be here on a Sunday. But I know y'all saw this. Hold on. And I'm not taking the conversation anywhere different. I just want to make sure that you understand where we're at with things. Because you and I are right now on a social media page. We're on a social media platform, right? You and I are here on a social media platform on YouTube. Some of us may even choose to be on platforms like Instagram. I thought this was really, really interesting and concerning, but it's already happening. Did you see this? Meta, Mark Zuckerberg and them, announced plans that Meta is reportedly planning to add AI-generated users to Instagram and Facebook. So that person that you're arguing about, Drake and Kendrick, may not even be a real person. I'm even going to go and say that I think that there's a possibility these characters have existed. These fake Facebook accounts, these fake Instagram accounts have existed years before they made this announcement. They just chose to claim it now because they're ready to launch it. It's already around you. Everybody says bots, and it's like, that's only one size of it. Fam, I saw one of them where they created it was an AI generated profile on Instagram where this lady is a single black mom who, had her pronouns. She's a part of the LGBTQ community. She is, what else? Single mom. And she's AI generating posts every single day on social media using the tools from Instagram. I think back to all of the issues that happened during some of these elections where they were just automatically blaming like the Russians and all of these different things. And yeah, a single mom bot. Yes, that's not a problem. That's crazy. I think about I butchered that one too, huh? You already know what I'm talking about. My apologies. I think about the people who are arguing during these elections and the people that seem to just be saying shit to piss you off. This is what we're talking about. What is it? What is it? Hold on. Put it. What is it? LG. I'm sorry. This is LGBTQ. That's what it is, right? LGBTQ. My apologies. My brain sometimes will just say BOT because I'm hungry, but it's not. No disrespect. LGBTQ community is what that AI character was generated as. And when I look at that, I'm like, what are we doing? So I'm going to read the message. This is on Earn Your Leisure. It says, Meta is reportedly developing a plan to integrate hundreds of thousands of AI-generated user accounts into its Facebook and Instagram platforms. These AI bots would mimic human user activity. That's you. Including posting, sharing, and liking content. These accounts will feature comprehensive profiles with bios and profile pictures and will generate and share their own AI-created content. This move is part of Meta's broader strategy to enhance user engagement and compete with platforms like TikTok and X by expanding the use of AI across its services, which already included chatbots and AI writing tools. What are we talking about? It's already here. Boy, it's already here. Damn, it's a new version of catfish. One of y'all finna be catfished by that AI ass.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Oh, simping ass. Hey, AI Yolana. That's a really unique name. AI Liana. So, like, what are you into? I like to go for long walks to the beach. Let me search beaches in your area. I like to go to Venice Beach. Oh, me too. Maybe one day I'll see you there. You're so cute. Thank you. Thank you so much. Would you like a thirst trap? Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you how horny it gets. I'm not gonna put my boy on blast. I'm not gonna put my boy. I'm not gonna put my associate on blast. I sat down last year with a gentleman. You know what this nigga told me? He said, this AI shit crazy, bro. Like, he's like, man, I'm running an AI OnlyFans page right now. And these niggas is paying me like crazy. I ain't even got to respond back to these horny dudes. All I got to do is just keep posting up these AI-generated pictures. Excuse me? About to get catfished by AI. You about to get a virus from AI too, freaky ass.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
You finna get a virus from AI, and that's a virus you can't get no damn. You can't go into the place. You can't go into the places and get no creams for it. That's a virus you can't get rid of with your freaky ass. Paying $14 a month to watch some AI booty. You freaky as hell. My guy, look, Lupe. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. This is a much different circumstance than the last time you and I had an opportunity to sit down. It's not I put myself out there today, and a lot of folks didn't like that, or they didn't like it. But I appreciate the work that it seems like, the way you articulated it today. I think doing that live stream, it was so much better than that chat message. That post, and I know that post is for your core fans, but when I seen that post, I was like, I know why people got confused. But today, I think you articulated all that shit so well. That was, I see the vision. When you say that you're thinking in years, in terms of 1,000 years at a time, okay. I'm glad that let me just say this to you, Lupe. I'm glad nobody was confused. Nobody was confused. No, they weren't. Not in there. Not in your environment. I'm talking about all this noise on the outside. The one that you were responding to in the video when you was hitting the space bar. I sat to that whole live stream. I screen recorded it, and I edited it down to react to a video today. So, I say this to say, I'm glad that you had that conversation. It showed, I think, when you were talking to your fans too, you're a lot more comfortable in that space, it seems. I just don't know why you were so long-winded with me, and like with them, you was like giving straight answers. That shit was crazy. I was like, damn, I wish I could. And truth be told, Lupe, I really wish I could have had that conversation with you under different circumstances. Like, I really wish we could have had this conversation because you don't know what you don't know because you don't know what you were talking about. Wow, Lupe. That's fine. That's fine. I'm going to tell you this, though, Lupe. You know what I didn't have an opportunity to say to you before? Is this. During that conversation, I feel like you were being a bit condescending. I still stand on everything. I think that you're doing amazing work. A1. Company man got my direct number. You could have just called me direct. I sent you a DM and you didn't respond because you're busy. I sent you a DM today. Today's different. I don't know. You don't know me from a can of paint, sir. But let me just say this. During that conversation, I think you said things that made sense, and I think you said things that were condescending. I think one of the things that you said that were condescending, I don't run my socials. That's fine. Well, I'm going to say this. I think there's some things that you said that were condescending. I think one of those was when you made the conversation about whether or not you're a better rapper than me. And I still stand by it. No, you were one of the best to ever do it. You said that's why you can't do the things that I can do. Sir, you as well cannot do the things that I am doing. I am good. You cannot do the things that I can do as a DIYer. I stamp that 1,000%. The many responsibilities that I take on today on a regular basis, this is what I do. So that shouldn't invalidate anything. That shouldn't validate. That's just me standing on my peg. As you as a man, I stand on my peg. So the respect is there. The respect was given all throughout this conversation. There's no clickbait in here at all. But as a DIYer, you cannot do what I do, sir. I do this. The video editing, the production, the color correction, I do this. But I don't need to say that. Yes, I can. Lupe, you're not producing like me. Stop it. Stop it. And it's not even about that, Lupe. My AI can. Oh, here we go. This nigga. I knew that was gonna come up. I knew that was gonna come up. Yo, AI can.
Tonight, we dive into the groundbreaking advancements in artificial intelligence.
I am not afraid of your A&I. Let them play. They can never fake another eye. I'm the revolution.
Produced by one of your collaborators in Kaelin Ellis. One more time.
Tonight, we dive into the groundbreaking advancements in artificial intelligence.
I am not afraid of your A&I. Let them play. They can never fake another eye. I'm the revolution that they never televise. I don't care what you computing cause it's ill-advised. You can try to type a prompt in that Time Roman's font, but my nuance cannot be duplicated in your box. I grew up in the 90s on movies like RoboCop. I kinda know the plot, that's why I'm unorthodox. Stay up on my toes, I know you wanna see me stumble, but this fly keep evolving, I feel like I'm Seth Brundle. Silicon Valley, I see vultures trying to stick their claws in my culture. You can use your mid-journey to sculpt us, but we laughing at your ass cause you soulless.
We now face unsettling concerns about artificial intelligence threatening our privacy.
I am not afraid of your A&I. I got Kaelin Ellis, bitch, I'll never die. I am not afraid of your A&I, unless it's Allen Iverson on the baseline, run it back. I am not afraid of your A&I. I got Kaelin Ellis, bitch, I'll never die. I am not afraid of your A&I, unless it's Allen Iverson on the baseline, run it back. I am not afraid of your A&I. I build paper planes and I make them fly. It may not be impressive to the naked eye, but what's a chat GPT to an awakened mind? You see, Udio was cool, but then you cross the line, cause we all know the catalog you training burglarized.
It seems we now face the grim reality of the dystopian future experts warned us about.
For those that think that AI is the answer, I hope you saw that Cringe video on Canva. I think the prompt was Hamilton with break dancers. Bitch, that whole damn event should have been canceled. You see, the nuance is the chemo to their cancer. It's the pieces of the culture they can't handle. It's the reason why these vultures got no quality.
It's alright.
The reason why they want your music in more quantities. They say the music business done, but that's not true. I'm still fighting for my art like it's bomb-proof. I'm still fighting for my heart, bitch, I'm John Q. I know a renaissance is coming, guess I'm on cue. You need to stop with the doomsday predictions. Cause what is artificial to a real ass nigga?
What is artificial to a real ass? Tell me.
AI has overtaken the government.
I am not afraid of your A&I. I got Kaelin Ellis, bitch, I'll never die. I am not afraid of your A&I, unless it's Allen Iverson on the baseline, run it back.
You George Jetson head ass. Hey, you know what? Today was nothing but listening to your perspective. And you did the Lupe thing. I don't really know you like that personally, sir, but you did the thing that I just don't understand. But today, I had a conversation, and I'm glad that we had a conversation that listened to your point of view on things. I don't know if you trolling. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know you, sir. You part of the reason why I don't look forward to doing no interviews. But with that said, I do appreciate your presence. I do appreciate that you're not walking away from the criticism of what you're doing. But today, what I said today, I stand on. I don't care what shenanigans happen afterwards. What was said today for a reason. Continue to do what you think is best for what you are doing for your audience because they appreciate you. And it seems like they're showing up for you all the way along the way. I said it already. I said Samurai is one of the best albums in 2024. I don't think that an AI can outdo what you're getting ready to do. I think that Lupe, in the next moving forward, you become a hybrid, and we can have a conversation about this. I think that you become a hybrid of something new that didn't exist before, something that 2023 Lupe couldn't do because now you have AI as your assistant. So I don't look at this as replacing. I get that we're pushing the platforms. I have questions still, but Hey, man, it's good to see you in this space. It's good to see you articulating your points, whether it's popular or not. I think that you've always stood on that. Salute. But I knew what the hell I was talking about. And that day, you was going around and you was doing 360s. You was going around in circles, 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 circles. And I wish it wasn't the first time we had a conversation, but it was. Nah. Shout out to Lupe Fiasco. Round of applause. Yeah. Have an amazing night, DIYers. This has been fun. This video will stay up for you to go back and review and see all the things that are there. But outside of that, DIYers, have an amazing, amazing night. It has been fun. It's funny, Lupe said I didn't know what I was talking about, but he did say that Too Short was on Reasonable Doubt. Oh. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.